Chapter 5877. Tao Tai's tragic past. Tao Tai saw that Yun Chujio was really going to turn around and leave. He couldn't take it anymore and roared, "Stop right there. You have to save me today, because you owe me." Yun Chujio raised her eyebrows. "I owe you? How funny, how do I owe you?" Tao Tai seemed to be having an intense battle of thoughts. In the end, when he saw that Yun Chujio was still going to leave, he roared with grief and indignation. "If it wasn't for you, would I have been a lonely beast? If it wasn't for the you from my previous life, would I have been locked up in this damned place? You vicious woman! I've had 8 lifetimes of bad luck when I met you. Not only did you make my wife disappear, but you also caused me to be locked up at the bottom of this dark and sunless lake. The most depressing thing was that my split soul had even become your spiritual beast. I, Tao Tai, am an ancient ferocious beast. I have committed all kinds of evil, and have no conscience. I was actually harmed by you so miserably. You are simply not human. You are more ferocious than a ferocious beast. You are a devil. You are a pervert." Yun Chujio selectively filtered out the series of compliments that Tao Tai said after that. She asked with interest, "Hey Tao Tai, tell me, how did I do it? In my previous life, I was actually so smart and so smart. I was even a little proud." Tao Tai almost fainted from anger. This stupid girl was indeed so infuriating. Tao Tai originally did not want to say such a shameful thing, but now in order to get out of trouble, it could only say it shamelessly. "In my previous life, I accidentally offended you, but my skin was rough and my flesh was thick. You didn't do anything to me. Later, I spread the news that I wanted to find a female to marry. Many female beasts had a good impression of me. On the day that I chose a concubine, many female beasts flocked to me. I still remember the grand occasion that day. Many beautiful female beasts threw flirtatious glances at me, all wanting to gain my favor." When Tao Tai said this, a nostalgic expression appeared on his face. However, in the blink of an eye, his expression turned ferocious as he continued. "You also came that day. You said that enemies should be resolved rather than tied. You even gave me a congratulatory gift, and asked me to open it on the spot. How would I know that you were trying to harm me? When I saw your mysterious appearance, I was also a little curious. When I opened it, it turned out to be a costume." Yun Chujio touched her chin. Why would she give Tao Tai a costume in her previous life? Let it sing. Speaking of, I was a little tempted at that time. You urged me to eat the costume on the spot. I didn't think too much and ate the costume. Who would have thought that at that time? You didn't know what kind of formation you used, but what those females saw was, actually, I swallowed a female demon beast. I didn't know anything about this. I just finished eating that costume, and you asked me, "Tao Tai, is my wife delicious? Do you still want to eat?" I thought you were asking about the costume, so I loudly said, "It's very delicious. Eat as much as you can in the future." When the females heard what I said, they immediately scattered in all directions, not listening to my explanation at all. From then on, within a radius of 1,000 li, not a single female existed. The most infuriating thing was that even some of the females of the Zerg race had fled far away. Damn it, even if I'm not good enough, I still have to consider the reproductive isolation. Can I still marry a bug? Chapter 5878. Deserved it. Cough cough. Cough cough. Hei Shinjiu almost choked to death on her own saliva when she heard Tao Tai's bloody and tearful accusation. She was really naughty in her previous life. She could even think of such an excellent, wicked method. Di Baiming's usually indifferent face showed a rare look of astonishment. This idiot Tao Tai was really a little miserable. Tao Tai probably held it in for too long as it roared with grief and indignation. From then on, I completely lost the hope of marrying a wife because no female dared to approach me. They all said that I married a wife just to eat her. No matter how I explained it, it was useless. To think that I, an ancient fierce beast, actually became a bachelor. I simply have no face to see a beast. This is all your fault. You're simply too wicked. Doesn't your conscience hurt? Although Yun Chujio felt a little guilty, she sneered on the surface. 1 to 1 mile per hour. Don't make yourself sound so innocent. You've said it yourself, you've offended me before. If you didn't offend me, would I have had the time to tease you? Besides, you're so fat. That costume must have cost a lot of money, especially the dark spirit stones on it. It's already good enough that I didn't ask you to pay for it. Also, in the end, your reputation is bad. You eat everything. That's why those female beasts believed my little trick. You're the one who's a foodie. Tao Tai was so angry that she was about to faint. Fine, fine. Even if it has nothing to do with you that I can't find a wife. What about the fact that PM locked up here because of you? Tao Tai said through gritted teeth. Hei Xinjiu blinked her eyes and said, what does it have to do with me that you are locked up here? How did I do it? Am I actually so outstanding? Tao Tai rolled his eyes in anger. He comforted himself that he had endured for so many years. He could not afford to lose the big because of the small. Bear with it. You lied to me so miserably back then. Naturally, I would not let it go. So, I went to settle the score with you and prepared to eat you. Unfortunately, I was plotted against by you again. Not only did I not eat you, but I was also seriously injured by you. If I wasn't seriously injured, how could those lowly humans trap me? So this is all your fault. You are simply not a human. You are a pervert. You are a devil. Yin Chujio filtered out the words that Tao Tai praised her and curled the corners of her lips. You are about to eat me. What's wrong with me scheming against you? It's already good enough to keep you alive. You still have the face to shout at me? You've grown such a big head in vain, so you're actually a fool. Tao Tai. Yin Chujio looked at Tao Tai, who was about to be angered to death, and asked curiously, oh right, how did your split soul back? Could it be that you know you're wrong and use it to atone for your sins? Pooey. I'm not guilty. This is just an accident. Our Tao Tai clan has a secret technique that can use a split soul to devour the spiritual consciousness of an external object. I originally wanted to devour your soul consciousness and make you a puppet so that I could vent my anger. But I didn't expect. At this point, Tao Tai shed 2 lines of tears in grief and indignation. I didn't expect that you, a pervert, would actually contract my split soul. Poor me, an ancient fierce beast. I actually failed to steal the chicken and ate the rice. Is there any beast in this world that is more miserable than me? Yin Chujio looked at it deeply. This isn't called miserable, it's called asking for it. If you didn't provoke me, I wouldn't have had the time to deal with you. This is entirely your own fault. I'll give you 2 words, you deserve it. Tao Tai. Chapter 5879 Master, don't go. Tao Tai's huge body trembled with anger. But in the end, it still said sullenly, all right. Even if I brought all this on myself, my split soul has also helped you a lot. Shouldn't you save me? Yin Chujio glanced at it. Help me a lot. Do you know how many spirit stones your split soul has eaten from me, and how many dark spirit stones it has eaten from me? If I didn't raise a scammer like you, would I be so greedy for money? Tao Tai cursed in its heart. You were originally a Paishio. You were greedy for money to begin with. Why are you still blaming it? Shameless. However, it now had a favor to ask of someone. It could only say pitifully, This is all the initial investment. As long as you let me out, it'll help you snatch more. PLL definitely make you a fortune. Yin Chujio's black eyes rolled around, and she glanced at Tao Tai's body again, asking, you have been locked up for so many years. How much ability do you have left? Are you a good-for-nothing? It was not that this guy was suspicious, but she had taken in too many scammers. It was a bloody lesson. Tao Tai's big eyes immediately flashed with a faint light, and he said arrogantly, it's really funny. I am an ancient fierce beast. What can this formation do to me? You have also seen how afraid those demonic beasts are of me. If I don't have any ability now, why would they be afraid of me? Yes. Yin Chujio thought about it, and it made sense. The demonic beasts on the 6 Harmonies waterside pavilion were so afraid of it, so it should still have some use. Not to mention other things, when the Red Claw was raging, it pushed Jian Chenmu to the ground with one move. Indeed, it looked quite powerful. If the split soul was so powerful, the host's soul and body would definitely not be too weak. After making up her mind, Yin Chujio looked at Tao Tai again. I'm only contracted with your split soul now. If I let you out, what if you turn hostile and refuse to acknowledge me? Tao Tai's face was bright and aboveboard. What are you talking about? Would an ancient beast like me, Tao Tai, do such a treacherous thing? You will. Tao Tai. Then how can you save me? As long as you state your conditions, I will satisfy you. Yin Chujio narrowed her eyes. You have to establish a contract with me first, and then I will save you. It's not that I don't agree with you, but PM at the bottom of the lake. How can I establish a contract with you? You have to think of a way to come to the bottom of the lake first, and then we can establish a contract. It's not too late. Don't worry, my split soul is already your beast, and it doesn't need me as its main soul. So I definitely won't lie to you. Tao Tai said sincerely. Hehe, do you think I? This stupid girl was really hard to deal with, but to make it acknowledge a thief as its father, no, abandoning the dark to the light, was also wrong. In short, how could it acknowledge an enemy as its master? This was simply a great humiliation. Just as Tao Tai was struggling in its heart, Yin Chujio yawned. Prince Charming, let's find a place to sleep. It doesn't matter whether this idiot wants it or not. Anyway, I already have Buttface and the others. One more won't make a difference. One less won't make a difference. Let's just let it be locked up at the bottom of the lake. After saying that, Yin Chujio grabbed Di Biming's arm and turned around to leave without any hesitation. Tao Tai panicked immediately. It had been locked up in the dark for so many years. If it did not seize this opportunity, it might not be able to get out in the future. Master, my dear master, don't go. Chapter 5880. What's the point of having you? Tao Tai comforted himself. He was in a rush for power. For the sake of freedom, he would first throw away his face. No matter what, he had to first obtain freedom, then find an opportunity to take revenge. The hatred of snatching his wife was irreconcilable. Humph. Yin Chujio heard Tao Tai's shout and stopped in her tracks. She turned around to look at Tao Tai and said with a faint smile, Didn't you say that you are locked at the bottom of the lake and have no way to establish a contract with me? Tao Tai cursed in his heart a few hundred times for being shameless, perverted, and evil. Only then did he say, I suddenly thought of an idea. Although my main body is locked at the bottom of the lake, I can use my split soul as a medium to establish a contract. However, I must say that we can only establish an equal contract. Otherwise, I won't give in even if I sit at the bottom of the lake. Yin Chujio nodded and agreed. Okay, then we will establish an equal contract. Immediately, Tao Tai established an equal contract with Yin Chujio through the red claws. The moment the contract was established, huge waves rose up in the misty lake. However, it was only for a moment before it regained its calm, so it did not attract anyone's attention. Tao Tai hurriedly said, Master, quick, come and save me. Yin Chujio blinked her eyes and asked, How can I save you? The core of the formation is under this stone wall. If you destroy the core, I will be able to regain my freedom. Tao Tai said excitedly. Yin Chujio looked at Tao Tai meaningfully and said, If I let you out, it will definitely cause a great commotion. At that time, I will also stay in the 10 Directions Academy. So you stay at the bottom of the lake for a period of time. When I am about to leave the 10 Directions Academy, I will come and save you. Tao Tai, don't play with it like that. Don't lie to the beast like that. Tao Tai was so angry. This was playing with it. It was once again fooled by her. You can't do this. Aren't you afraid of retribution? You are heartless. You are not human, you bastard. Tao Tai was so angry that it didn't know how to scold. It was so angry that it almost fainted. Yin Chujio touched her nose. Dehua, why are you so impatient? It's not that I don't want to save you. I just want you to stay at the bottom of the lake for a few more days. Do you have to be so angry? As for that, I don't want to stay in this damn place for one more day. Sob, I beg you, please save me. As long as you save me, I'm willing to do whatever you want me to do, Tao Tai said sobbingly. It had already acknowledged the thief as its master. If it still couldn't obtain freedom, wouldn't it cry to death? Yin Chujio didn't deliber. She was fine with it, but if she implicated the gigolo, and couldn't get the qualification to compete in the 100-year grand competition, wouldn't it be a loss? Tao Tai begged for a long time, but when it saw that Yun Chujio still wouldn't let go, it could only gnash its teeth and say, forget it, forget it. Anyway, my body is almost decayed. If you don't want it, then I don't want it. You can get my host soul out, right? Yun Chujio suddenly had an ominous premonition in her heart. What did you say? What do you mean your body is almost decayed? Tao Tai said with a guilty conscience. Ah, yes. Otherwise, why do you think these demonic beasts would be contaminated by my brutal aura? It's because the array has dissolved my body, and the brutal aura was absorbed by them. You humans are really vicious. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. You already have no body, so what use do I have for you? Chapter 58-81 fell into the pit again. Tao Tai was immediately unhappy when it heard Yun Chujio's words. What are you talking about? The noblest thing is not the body but the soul. How can such a noblest beast soul like mine be useless? If even my split soul is so powerful, my host soul is naturally even more powerful. Yun Chujio was skeptical of its words. However, since they had already established a contract, she could not ignore it even if it was a scam. Thus she said unhappily, then how can I save your host's soul? That's easy. We've established the contract now. My host's soul has a connection with your soul consciousness. You only need to smear your blood on the stone wall. I'll teach you a secret technique of the Tao Tai clan. Then, my host's soul and my split soul will become one. That way, I'll be able to get out of here indirectly, said Tao Tai excitedly. Hey, Shinjio resolutely refused. Smear my blood on the stone wall? How much blood does that need? I won't do it. Tao Tai roared. You've made me so miserable. Why can't I ask you for some blood? Besides, it doesn't need much. I just need to smear the small piece of my claw on the wall with fresh blood. Yun Chujio reluctantly said. All right, then I'll show my kindness. Actually, I really don't want a foodie like you. Not only do you have no ability, but you're also very good at eating. What's the point of having you? Tao Tai. It was not easy for Tao Tai to hold back the anger in his heart. He comforted himself. It was not too late for Tao Tai to take revenge. Let's wait and see. Yun Chujio followed Tao Tai's method and smeared the blood on the spot where the red claw was pressed. Then, she used the secret technique that Tao Tai taught her. A moment later, Tao Tai's host's soul floated out of the stone wall and merged into the red claw. The red claw immediately changed into Tao Tai's appearance, but only one of the red claws was solid. Tao Tai moved his limbs and said with some disdain, I'm not criticizing you, but you're too useless. It took you so long to materialize one of my claws. Work harder in the future, and quickly let me materialize, do you hear me? Yun Chujio looked at him coldly, and didn't say anything. Tao Tai continued, although PM temporarily wronged to be your spiritual beast, we have an equal contract, so we have an equal relationship. If you want to order me to do things in the future, you must give me enough spirit stones and dark spirit stones. Otherwise, I don't have time to help you. Tao Tai saw that Yun Chujio didn't say anything and thought that she had acquiesced, so it became more and more smug. I'm different from those three idiots. I'm nobler than them and smarter than them. Don't even think about using the same trick to deal with me. You can't compare to your previous life. Let me tell you, there's nothing in this world that I can't eat. As long as I want to, I can swallow this stupid academy into my stomach. Just as Tao Tai was showing off, a sharp pain came from his spiritual sense. He immediately cried out in pain. The only real claw was twitching in pain. It was as miserable as it could be. Seeing Tao Tai's miserable state, Yun Chujio could not help but feel happy. It seemed that the contract with the host's soul was indeed different. Previously, she had no way to control that dead claw. Now, she could take care of Dahua just like how she took care of Buttface and the others. Tao Tai, who was in so much pain, finally realized that she had fallen into a pit again, and it was a pit that she had dug for herself. Chapter 58-82 Dahua, come tell me, who is the noblest, who is the smartest, and who is the most powerful? Yin Chuzhou asked with a smile. Tao Tai grimaced in pain and said unwillingly, it's you, it's all you. I'll let you work for me in the future. Do I still need to look at your face? No need. It's only right and proper for me to work for my master, Tao Tai said with a sobbing voice. It was really too damn depressed. It regretted it. If it had known earlier, it would have been better to be locked up at the bottom of the lake. At least no one could bully it. No, it could not give up just like that. It would definitely find a way to take revenge, definitely. Di Biming watched the whole process from the side, and did not participate in it. It was only now that he said, Little Jiu, its appearance is too eye-catching. If you let it out, it will bring you trouble. Tao Tai felt Di Biming's indifferent gaze, and immediately showed a strong desire to survive. Master, don't worry. Since I'm a spiritual beast, I can change according to your wishes. Just like how you imagined your spiritual beast to be a pig. I later became a pig, but before Tao Tai could finish its sentence, its appearance became a cute red piglet. Yin Chuzhou clapped her hands in surprise. It's really like that. Now you can turn into a tiger for me to see. Why don't you change? You can change. Tao Tai looked at her with tears in its eyes and said with difficulty, but I can only change once. Unless I turn into a real tiger, or else, I can only turn into this wretched appearance. Yin Chuzhou. This fellow angrily beat Tao Tai. You dumbass. Are you not going to finish your sentence? You must be doing this on purpose, you pig. I'll beat you to the miserable. Tao Tai was beaten to the point that it dissipated instantly. It felt bitter in its heart. Was this because of it? She was clearly too impatient. Moreover, the final victim was it, alright? She had thought that she had escaped the fate of being a pig in this life. But who would have thought that she had become a pig again? Who had she offended? Her life was too miserable. He Xinjiu was not satisfied. She released De Hua again, and gave it another good scolding and a good beating. While beating it up, the fellow suddenly remembered something. By the way, why did you disappear during that period of time? De Hua's eyes flashed and he said in a wrong tone. Don't you have that Gowei Batsao? So I rested for a period of time. Yin Chuzhou asked suspiciously. Is that so? If I find out that you are lying to me, HMPH. De Hua shrunk his neck and did not say a word. Alright, what skills do you have now? Yin Chuzhou continued to ask. De Hua. The poor piglet was sent flying hundreds of feet away, and almost disappeared. De Hua was so angry. However, she still walked over with her 4 short legs. I'm saying that I can eat other spiritual beasts, and I can temporarily maintain my physical body to fight. The power will increase by several times. Temporarily maintain my physical body? In order to verify her words, De Hua's entire body immediately turned into a physical body. She was just like a piglet, but it was red. In order to show her ferocity, this fellow even bared his teeth at Yin Chuzhou. Yin Chuzhou looked at the fierce piglet and felt extremely stifled. Why did she think of the piglet first just now? Even if it is a big pig is also good. Chapter 5883 Loitering Pig. De Hua did not know what He Xinjie was thinking. She said proudly, not only will my physical form greatly increase my power, but I can also speed up my cultivation speed. In the future, you should let me out for a walk more often. Yin Chuzhou felt that these words were somehow familiar. That damned grass often requested to be out for a walk too. These two were restless. The other people raised spiritual beasts, while she raised loitering pigs. Yin Chuzhou thought of another question. My morning sickness must have something to do with you, right? De Hua touched its nose guiltily with its small claws. You also know that I'm used to eating and sleeping when I'm full. When PM full PLL eat. If I don't sleep enough, I'll naturally be in a bad mood. Yin Chuzhou felt very stifled, and sent it flying with a kick. De Hua let out a choking sound as it fell. Its 4 short legs kicked for a long time before it finally got up. Yin Chuzhou felt even more stifled. What kind of combat ability could it have with its stupid appearance? De Hua got up and widened its small eyes. It said pitifully, well, master, I'm hungry. Do you have anything to eat? Yin Chuzhou. Yin Chuzhou gritted her teeth and threw a pile of spirit stones to De Hua. De Hua opened its mouth and the pile of spirit stones instantly entered its stomach. Yun Chujio only felt that in the blink of an eye, the pile of spirit stones had disappeared. Dehua said pitifully again, "Master, I'm hungry." He Xinjiu resisted the urge to slap it to death, and threw another pile of spirit stones to it, but it swallowed them in one gulp. "Master, I'm still hungry," Dehua thought secretly. Although it could not avenge its wife for the time being, at least it could eat her poor humph. It was so smart. Seeing that Dehua had eaten so many spiritual stones in such a short time, Yun Chujio couldn't bear it anymore. "I'm hungry. You should also bear with." Dehua shook its short tail aggrievedly. "Master, even if you don't give me spiritual stones, you can at least give me some food. It's not my fault. I've been locked up for so many years. I'm really hungry." To be honest, although Taotai didn't look very likable before, it was now a small one, wagging its short tail. It was exceptionally soft and cute, and Yin Chujio couldn't bear it anymore. Moreover, it didn't want spirit stones, just some food. It wasn't too much. However, He Xinjiu soon realized how naive her thoughts were. How was it just some food? In just 15 minutes, Dehua had eaten 100 bags of spiritual wheat, 200 bags of spiritual rice, 300 spiritual cabbages, 500 red-crowned eggs, and 10 large basins of steamed buns. He Xinjiu saw that her stock was decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye, so she wickedly threw a sack of chili noodles to Dehua. "Cough, cough. Cough, cough. It's so spicy." Dehua choked and coughed repeatedly, her small body shaking like leaves in the wind. He Xinjiu felt very relieved. She was about to say something when she heard Dehua continue. "Master, you are so considerate. I was just having a bland meal, and you brought me seasoning. The spicy food was so satisfying." He Xinjiu was so angry that she rolled her eyes. She hugged Di Biming's waist and sobbed. "Idol, it's over. I'm going to raise a bottomless pit in the future. I'm going to be a pauper soon." Di Biming's heart ached as he stroked her hair. His cold gaze looked at Dehua, who was snot, tears, and frantically eating. Dehua immediately trembled and stammered. I'm full. I'm not hungry anymore. I can stop eating for 3 days. Master, don't worry. I'm very easy to raise. If it's not enough, I can even lick my own paws for 2 days." Chapter 5884. Coming out of the valley, Dehua showed a strong desire to survive. After stuttering, she slapped herself with her paw and dissipated. He Xinjiu was angry, amused, and a little jealous. At this moment, a strong drowsiness came over her. She yawned and said, "This Dehua is really a pig. She wants to sleep after eating." Di Biming wanted to say something, but he saw that Yun Chujio had already fallen asleep in his arms. Di Biming chuckled and sat on the ground to make Yun Chujio's sleeping position more comfortable. He even took out a blanket and covered her. When Yun Chujio woke up the next day, she found that she was lying on Di Biming's lap, while Di Biming maintained his meditation position. It was obvious that he had not slept the whole night. She rubbed her eyes and said, "You haven't slept this whole time? Are you stupid? You can let the little perverted dragon be in charge of guarding. Let's sleep together." Di Biming moved his slightly stiff body and said with a faint smile, "Meditation can also relieve fatigue. There's no problem." What Di Biming did not say was that the two of them spent less time together and more time apart. Even looking at her sleeping face was an extravagant hope. He could not bear to sleep. After breakfast, the two of them didn't delay their journey to the entrance of the valley. After all, they still had to look for the Yinyang lichen. When they arrived at the entrance of the valley, Ding Wenru, Nangong Shi, Jiang Hong, and Yin Zhang came forward to welcome them. Although Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi had sustained serious injuries previously, they were only superficial injuries. By now, they had almost fully recovered. Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang wanted to leave midway. But if Yin Qingqing didn't die, and they left just like that, wouldn't they be in trouble? Thus they stayed until now. The two of them looked at He Xinjiu, who was still alive and kicking. They couldn't help but feel lucky that she didn't leave. Otherwise, this little devil would definitely settle the score later. Yun Chujio looked at the two of them with satisfaction and sent them away. After all, she had too many secrets on her. The fewer people who knew, the better. After Jiang Hong and Yin Zhang left, Yin Chuzhou summoned Xiaohei. She asked Di Biming for a stalk of Yinyang lichen, and let Xiaohei sniff it. Xiaohei nodded its little head, and began to search ahead. Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru looked surprised, but they tactfully did not ask. He Xinjiu approached Ding Wenru and asked with a smile, "Sister Ding, what are you doing?" "Sister Ding, now you can tell me why you and Nangong Shi went to the Red Valley, right? You didn't go there to have a tryst, did you?" Ding Wenru's face immediately turned red. "Bah! What nonsense are you talking about? We just happened to bump into each other. Coincidence? That's quite a coincidence. Ordinary people wouldn't go into the Red Valley," He Xinjiu teased. Ding Wenru's expression became more and more unnatural, but she still told her what happened. In fact, the matter wasn't too complicated. Previously, because of Nangong Shi's careless words, Ding Wenru hadn't paid any attention to Nangong Shi. In the end, all of this was due to her low self-esteem. After the last epiphany, although her condition was much better, she still felt a little uncomfortable. Therefore, even though she later found out that Nangong Shi had been looking for an opportunity to explain to her, she still didn't pay any attention to him. During a refining class, the lecturer had unintentionally mentioned that there was a kind of blood stone with black patterns in the Red Valley of the Six Harmonies Water Pavilion. When refining certain spirit tools, it could increase the success rate. Everyone else listened and decided to forget about it. But Ding Wenru remembered it in her heart. She was anxious to prove herself, so as soon as she was teleported to the Six Harmonies Water Pavilion, she headed towards the direction of the Red Valley. Anyway, with the escape jade token, there wouldn't be any danger. Chapter 5885. Gathering Yinyang lichens. Ding Wenru was on her way to the Red Valley when she coincidentally bumped into Nangong Shi. At first, Ding Wenru didn't tell him that she was going to the Red Valley, but Nangong Shi followed her at a distance. When he saw that she was going to enter the Red Valley, he naturally tried to dissuade her. Ding Wenru was competing with him, so how could she listen? She still insisted on entering the Red Valley. Nangong Shi was worried about her safety, so he followed her into the Red Valley. At first, there wasn't any danger, but later on, they encountered a few demonic beasts. Unfortunately, they discovered that the escape jade token wasn't useful, so they heard Ding Wenru's cry for help. Although Ding Wenru was picky when she said it, He Xinjiu quickly imagined the whole process and laughed even more mischievously. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were still in the hazy state of the moon and birds. They hadn't broken through the window yet, so their faces were both red. Fortunately, Xiaohei had discovered something and diverted their attention. The four of them looked in the direction that Xiaohei was pointing at. It was a low bush. If it weren't for Xiaohei leading the way, they wouldn't have thought that there was a yin-yang lichen under the bush. He Xinjiu was about to go forward and dig when Ding Wenru quickly stopped her. "Qingqing, wait. There will definitely be guarding demonic beasts near the yin-yang lichen. Don't act rashly." Yin Chuzhou waved her hand nonchalantly. Don't worry. Those demonic beasts belong to my family. They once attacked me, their master. They have already run away." Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were dumbfounded. Did Yin Qingqing have a problem with her brain? Why was she spouting nonsense? The demonic beasts in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion belonged to her family? She was their master? What kind of joke was this? Even President Gu didn't dare to say that. These demonic beasts weren't spirit beasts. Each and every one of them was unruly and savage. Who dared to say that they were their master? Ding Wenru wanted to stop Yin Chuzhou, but she saw that Di Biming didn't have the slightest trace of worry on his face, so she stopped in her tracks. He Xinjiu ran into the bushes and used her pickaxe to dig a few times. She waved at Ding Wenru and the other two. Don't just stand there. Hurry up and help me dig. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi looked at each other. There really wasn't any demonic beast guarding them. Although the yin-yang lichen grew below the surface, it was not too far from the surface. The four of them quickly dug out a yin-yang lichen. He Xinjiu took the yin-yang lichen and looked at it. It was half black and half white. It was quite interesting. The strange grass in her dantian kept acting cute. If it were not for debioming, Xiaohei would have wanted to eat the yin-yang lichen when he smelled it. Hei Xinjiu yelled with her spiritual sense. Eat, eat, eat. All you know is to eat. All of you are making me worry. I want to use the yin-yang lichen to hand in my mission. Forget it. The leaves of the guai chow immediately drooped down. This stupid girl was really biased. She had fed the pig so much yesterday. Why was it reluctant to give it up? To think that it had risked its life for her. It was really heartless. Hei Xinjiu felt that the guai chow was feeling wronged. She gritted her teeth and said, "If I find enough, I'll leave a few for you to eat." When the guai chow heard this, it immediately acted cutely. It was just short of wagging its long tail. In the next 2 days, Yin Chujiu and the other two were extremely smooth. Xiaohei was able to find the yin-yang lichen every time, and did not miss a single time. What surprised Nangong Shi and Ding Wenru the most was that they had not encountered a single guardian beast. Chapter 5886 Eating Poryu. Sometimes, they would discover the demon beasts' nests around the yin-yang lichen. They even touched the dry grass inside, which was still warm. This meant that there were still demon beasts guarding here not long ago, but they had never encountered them. Meant that there were still demon beasts guarding here not long ago, but they had never encountered them. Was it because of their heaven-defying luck? Or was it really like what Yin Qingqing said, that the demon beasts in the Six Harmonies waterside pavilion were all from her family? Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were puzzled, but they tactfully did not ask any more questions. Hei Xinjiu had found a lot of yin-yang lichens, so her resentment towards Dehua had lessened a lot. After all, this fellow was still somewhat useful. Dehua was obviously the kind of person who would take advantage of others. Sensing that Yin Chujiu was in a good mood, he immediately pleaded, "Master, I'm so hungry. Please feed me." Yin Chujiu hesitated for a moment before releasing Dehua. After all, she and Ding Wenru had been together day and night, so there were some secrets that could not be hidden. As for Nangong Shi, he was not a talkative person. Moreover, he had the relationship with Ding Wenru, so he would not go out and say anything. When Ding Wenru saw the cute Dehua, her eyes almost popped out. This was Qingqing's claw? Ding Wenru felt a huge shock in her heart. Qingqing's spirit beast was actually a pig? And it was a piglet. That red claw looked quite fierce before. How did it turn into a pig's trotter? Nangong Shi was also dumbfounded. This was the first time he saw a human spirit beast being a piglet. Could this thing have any combat strength? When he saw the red piglet instantly swallow a pile of spirit stones, he felt that it was most likely an illusion. He heard that no spirit beast could directly swallow spirit stones. After Dehua swallowed a pile of spirit stones, it pitifully said with spiritual sense, "Master, I'm still hungry." Hei Xinjiu couldn't bear to part with spirit stones, so she took out a pile of food and gave it to it. However, this time, it was only the corpses of demonic beasts. Even so, Hei Xinjiu still felt her heart ache. Dehua looked at Hei Xinjiu's pained expression and felt extremely relieved. She deserved it. She deserved it. Her heart ached for you to death. You made me lose my wife. You made me sit at the bottom of the lake. You made me lose my body. And I ate you until you were poor. You ate until you were bankrupt. Ding Wenru and Nangong Shi were petrified. They could no longer express their shock in words. Dehua had eaten more than 10 demon beasts' corpses. When she... Ding Wenru looked at Hei Xinjiu, who was gnashing her teeth, and asked, "Qingqing, is this the red claw from before?" Yin Chujiu nodded. "That's right, it's that dumbass who only knows how to eat." Ding Wenru's stomach was full of questions, but in the end, it turned into a sentence. Since it can eat so much, it must be very powerful, right? Yin Chujiu only felt that thousands of arrows pierced through her heart. She clenched her back teeth and squeezed out a sentence. "Powerful my ass. It's just a good for nothing." Ding Wenru tactfully did not ask anymore, because no matter who raised such a scammer, their mood would not be good. At this moment, a group of people walked over from afar. Their leaders were Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianqiao. Jian Zhuyu looked at Yin Chujiu and Ding Wenru beside her, and felt very disappointed. They actually did not die. When she saw Di Biming and Nangong Shi beside her, Her mood became even worse. Originally, she wanted to use this trial to kill that bitch Yin Qingcheng. But now that Beiyu and Nangongshi were together with her, it was not easy to kill them. Chapter 5887. You're really popular. Compared to Jianzhu's calm expression, Xiao Lianqiu's expression was much more obvious. Her face was full of disappointment. Didn't Jianzhu go to the Red Valley with that bitch Yin Qingcheng? There was something wrong with her escaped jade token. How could she not die? It must be Beiyu who saved her. How hateful. She glared at Yin Chujio fiercely. Her gaze was as if she wanted to cut Yin Chujio into 1,000 pieces. At this moment, Jianzhu said softly, "The four of you please join us. Our strength is not bad. Even if we encounter a powerful guardian demonic beast, we can still fight. We can find more Yin-Yang lichen." Although she said this to Yin Chujio and the other three, her eyes were fixed on Di Biming. Her face showed a perfect shyness. Hei Xinjiu curled her lips. "Thank you for your kindness, but we are not interested." Hei Xinjiu emphasized the word kindness. Don't think that she did not know what the White Lotus was planning. It was nothing more than an opportunity to trick her and steal her gigolo. In her dreams, if she did not have so many people behind her, she would have sent her and Jian Chenmu to keep her company. Jian Zhuyu ignored Yin Chujio and continued to stare at Di Biming. It was obvious that he was waiting for his reply. Di Biming said calmly, "I will listen to Qingcheng. I will do as she says." Jian Zuyu's expression froze. Xiao Lianxiao could not take it anymore. "Beiyu, you have to think carefully. If you cannot obtain enough Yin-Yang lichens, you will lose the chance to compete in the 100-year competition. This is the chance that many people dream of. Are you going to give it up because of this stupid Yin Qingcheng?" Jianzhu chimed in. "Yes, Beiyu. The 100-year competition not only represents the glory of the academy, but if you are lucky, there will be great opportunities. You have to think it through." Hei Xinjiu giggled and said, "You don't have to worry about that. Because Brother Bai's greatest opportunity is to meet me. Brother Beiyu, don't you think so?" "Yes, meeting you is my greatest opportunity. It's a blessing given to me by the heavens." Di Biming looked at Yin Chujio and said word by word. Hei Xinjiu originally said all this to anger Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu. She did not expect Di Biming to respond to her in such a serious manner. Her thick-skinned face immediately turned red. Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianxiao were so angry that they were half dead. They originally wanted to sow discord between them, but now it had become an opportunity for them to show off their love. It was really hateful. Xiao Lianxiao was so angry that her eyes were red. "Beiyu, you will regret it. You will lose the opportunity of the 100-year competition because of tea. You will regret it sooner or later." Although Jian Ziyu's reaction was not as intense as hers, her tone of regret could not be more obvious. "Beiyu, since you have already decided, I can't say anything. If you regret it, come find us at any time." Di Biming did not say anything. Hei Xinjiu waved her claws. "Goodbye." Xiao Lianxiao glared at her and left angrily. Jian Zhuyu nodded at Di Biming and led the others to chase after him. Ding Wenru curled her lips, thinking, if these idiots knew that Qingqing had found a lot of Yin-Yang lichens, would they die of anger? Hei Xinjiu said sourly, "Brother Beiyu, you are really popular." Di Biming could not help but laugh. He said casually, "In my eyes, you are the only woman in the world. The others are nothing but rubble in my eyes." Chapter 5888 ended. Hei Xinjia's little heart immediately thumped nonstop. Oh my, this gigolo is getting more and more flirtatious. In order to hide her shyness, this guy raised his voice and said, "Well, let's hurry up and find the Yin-Yang lichen. Otherwise, we really won't be able to go to the 100-year competition." Di Biming knew that she was embarrassed. He chuckled, making Hei Xinjia's little face even redder. Ding Wenru and Nangongshi, who were hit by the dog food, looked at each other. Their hearts were filled with ripples. In the remaining 3 days, the four of them were still very successful. They had collected an astonishing number of Yin-Yang lichens. When Yin Chujio wanted to distribute the Yin-Yang lichens, Ding Wenru said, "My cultivation is too low. Even if I go to the 100-year competition, I will be a burden to the academy. So Qingcheng, just give me a few. You don't have to give me so many. Yun Chujio disagreed. It's because your cultivation is low that you should go to the 100-year competition. If you cultivate step by step, when will you catch up with the others' cultivation? You heard it before. There may be opportunities in the 100-year competition. Maybe you will be lucky and your cultivation will soar. Ding Wenru was still hesitant. What you said makes sense, but I'm afraid of dragging everyone down. Nangongsher mustered up his courage and said, Don't worry. I'll protect you. Ding Wenru's face immediately turned red. Although she still looked like a bear, at this moment, she looked a little shy like a little girl. He Xinjiu laughed evilly. They began to distribute the yin-yang lichen. I'm the most fair and not greedy. Come brother Beiyu sister Ding Nangongsher, me brother Beiyu sister Ding, Nangongsher, 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 and me, Ding Wenru. Nangongsher. What happened to being fair and not greedy? However, the two of them did not have any objections. If it were not for Yin Qingcheng's Xiaohei and her strange good luck, they would not have been able to gather so many yin-yang lichens. Moreover, if it were not for her and Beiyu, they might have already died in the Red Valley. When the trial ended, everyone was teleported out of the Six Directions Waterside Pavilion. President Gu and the others had already been waiting here for a long time. The Six Directions Waterside Pavilion was very dangerous, and they were very worried about the students' condition. After counting the number of people, they found that only a dozen students had died, and they couldn't help but feel very lucky. Actually, the reason why so few people had died was because of He Xinjiu. The demonic beasts in the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion sensed the aura of. If it weren't for the blind students who provoked them, they wouldn't have taken the initiative to attack. President Gu immediately ordered the relevant lecturers to start counting the number of yin-yang lichens, and the scene immediately became lively. Yun Chujio had previously instructed Ding Wenru and the others not to hand in the yin-yang lichens first, and to look at everyone's situation first. If the others had only collected a small amount, there was no need for them to hand in so many yin-yang lichens. Firstly, it was too eye-catching, and secondly, it would be a waste. Jian Zhuyu and Xiao Lianxiao did not know what Yun Chujio and the others were planning. Seeing that they had not handed in their mission, they immediately felt relieved. This time, Beiyu had lost the opportunity to participate in the 100-year competition. He would definitely vent his anger on Yin Qingcheng. Sooner or later, they would have to break up. Xiao Lianxiao arrogantly walked up to Yin Chujio. Yin Qingcheng, why haven't you handed in your mission yet? Could it be that you and Ding Wenru are dragging them down, causing Beiyu and Nangongsher to be unable to enter the top 50? Chapter 5889. Top 4. Ding Wenru was just about to retort when He Xinjiu shot her a look. Then, she sighed and shook her head, remaining silent. Ding Wenru immediately understood He Xinjiu's plan, and looked dejected. Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu looked at each other. It seemed that they were right. Beiyu and the others definitely did not find a few lichens. They deserved. Xiao Lianxiao pouted and said, Yin Qingcheng, it's fine that you're a good-for-nothing. But now you've made Beiyu lose the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition. You're really shameless. If you still have self-awareness, don't bother Beiyu in the future. Jian Zhuyu sighed and said, The opportunity to participate in the 100-year grand competition is very rare. It's a pity for Beiyu and Nangongsher this time. Ding Wenru looked at the two of them, who were singing along, and couldn't help but laugh in her heart. How proud they were now. They would be slapped in the face in a while. After a while, the students handed in their missions one after another. Xiao Lianxiao urged them with ill intentions. Yin Qingcheng, why aren't you guys handing in your missions? Now you know how embarrassing it is to collect so little? Who asked you guys not to join us before? I'm ranked in the top 20, and have firmly obtained the qualification to participate in the 100-year competition. Yun Chujio looked at her meaningfully, and then called Ding Wenru and the others to hand in the mission. Soon, 4 names appeared on the bulletin board, and replaced the original top 4. First place, Yin Qingcheng. Second place, Beiyu 3rd place, Nangongsher 4th place, Ding Wenru. Everyone immediately exploded. Were they seeing things? Beiyu and Nangongsher were fine, but Yan Qingqing was actually ranked first? Ding Wenru was ranked 4th. This was simply impossible. Not to mention the others, even President Gu rubbed his eyes. That Yan Qingqing not only entered the top 50, but she was also ranked first. How is this possible? However, after he went to the lecturer in charge to confirm it, he realized that it was actually true. Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Ziyu's expressions were very interesting. At first, they were in disbelief. Then they were flustered and exasperated. Since this Yan Qingqing had collected so many yin-yang lichens, why didn't she mention it before? She was deliberately toying with them. It was really detestable. Xiao Lianxiao said loudly. There must be something wrong here. Beiyu and Nangongsher must have given the yin-yang lichens they found to Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru. The two of them are cheating. They used spirit stones to buy flags during the lower house assessment. Now they are using their bodies to exchange for yin-yang lichens. How shameless. Everyone immediately burr. It must be so. Otherwise, how could the two of them have collected so many yin-yang lichens? Seeing this, Xiao Lianxiao could not help but feel relieved. Just as she was feeling proud, a chill ran down her neck. Which fucking eye did you see Ding Wenru and I use our bodies to exchange for the yin-yang lichens? Was it the left eye or the right eye? Since you're so blind, it's useless to keep it. How about I dig it out for you? It turned out that, without knowing when, Yun Chujio had already arrived behind Xiao Lianxiao and placed the dagger on her neck. Everyone was stunned by this unexpected turn of events. This Yan Qingqing's courage was too great. One had to know that President Gu and the other chancellors were all present. She actually dared to publicly threaten people with a dagger. Did she want to be expelled? President Gu immediately snorted. Yan Qingqing, stop. Yun Chujio sneered. President, Ding Wenru and I are the only two students of the prehistoric branch. We represent the face of the prehistoric branch. Right now, our face is being trampled on by this Xiao Lianxiao. If I let her go just like that, I won't have the face to see my master. Don't you agree? Chapter 5890 was easy to talk to when President Gu heard the word master. His heart skipped a beat. He had actually forgotten about this matter. He had previously promised Yan Qingqing that as long as she obtained the qualifications for the 100-year grand competition, he would let her meet the two people at the back of the mountain. Heaven and earth. He had only casually found an excuse to make her give up. Who would have thought that not only did she enter the top 50, but she had also obtained the first place? It was really killing me. He wanted to hide this matter, but it was too late. He didn't want those two to know that there were two more useless students in their muddle-headed state. Xiao Lianxiao originally thought that once President Gu stopped her, Yun Chujio would let her go. Who would have thought that President Gu would actually be in a daze now? She looked at Vice President Xiao for help. Second uncle, save me. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug thought, save you? Save my ass. It would be better if you were dead. However, in order to maintain its image, it said to Yun Chujio with a cold face, Yan Qingqing, you are really bold and reckless. Even if Lianxiao spoke without restraint and slandered you, even if she really should be punished, you shouldn't use violence to solve the problem. Why don't you quickly let her go? Xiao Lianxiao smacked her lips. Why did it feel like her second uncle was not helping? Yun Chujio curled her lips and put away the dagger. She said darkly, if I hear your nonsense again, I will cut off your tongue. Xiao Lianxiao was angry and hateful. She reached out her hand to hit Yun Chujio, but she heard Director Xiaofu shout angrily, enough! You've been acting more and more unruly recently. Hurry up and apologize to Yan Qingqing. Xiao Lianxiao was so angry that she was dumbfounded. In the past, her second uncle would always stand on her side and speak up for her. But recently, why did he speak up for this bitch Yan Qingqing again and again? She wanted to refute, but when she saw Director Xiaofu's gloomy face, she could only grit her teeth and say to Yun Chujio with red eyes, I'm sorry. Yun Chujio gave a brilliant smile. It's okay. I've always been easy to talk to. In the future, we'll still be good classmates. Everyone, Easy to talk to. Who was the one who was shouting about digging out his eyes and cutting out his tongue just now? This face changing was even faster than flipping a book. Xiao Lianqiao suppressed her hatred. With reddened eyes, she bit her lips and retreated to the side. At this time, President Gu had recovered from his shock. He glanced at the crowd and said, "According to the agreement, the top 50 students will be qualified to participate in the 100-year competition." Of course, considering the actual situation, if a student feels that it is not suitable to participate in the 100-year competition, he can come to me later to explain the situation and give up the qualification. The academy will give him some compensation. When President Gu said this, he looked at Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru. His purpose was self-evident. Ding Wenru lowered her head uncomfortably, but He Xinjiu winked at President Gu with a smile. President Gu felt relieved. It seemed that Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru would give up their qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition, so that he would not have to be scolded by those two. However, he returned to his own courtyard and waited. He waited for 3 days, but Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru still didn't show up. Instead, he received a surprise. "President, something has happened." A guard rushed in to report. President Gu frowned. "What happened? Why are you making a fuss?" The guard said with a panicked expression. "The 3 courtyards of the alchemy division have disappeared into thin air. Not only have those houses disappeared, even the flowers and trees on the ground have disappeared." Chapter 5891. The courtyard that disappeared into thin air. President Gu felt that he had most likely misheard. "What did you say? Say it again." "The 3 courtyards of the alchemy division all disappeared overnight," the guard repeated. President Gu slammed the table. "Nonsense. How is this possible? Even if someone used a jade talisman to blow up those courtyards, there should still be ruins." "President, everything I said is true. I saw it with my own eyes. If you don't believe me, you can go and take a look at the scene." At this moment, President Gu's shocked and angry voice came from the alchemy division's jade token. "President, 3 courtyards have disappeared from our alchemy division. Please come and take a look." Only then did President Gu believe that the guards weren't exaggerating. He hurried to the alchemy division. At this moment, many lecturers and students had gathered at the scene of the incident. The chancellors and vice-chancellors of the 6 major divisions were all present. Their faces were filled with shock. When the crowd saw President Gu, they spontaneously made a path for him. President Gu walked to the front and took a look. He couldn't help but be stunned as well. He saw that there was nothing in the vast area in front of him. It was so clean. Not to mention the houses, there wasn't even a single weed. It was as if this place was originally an empty space, and nothing had ever existed. However, there were clearly 3 courtyards of the alchemy division here. There were even many tall trees. How did it become like this overnight? President Gu looked at the 6 chancellors. "What exactly is going on? Did you find anything?" "President, I checked just now. There is no sign of the use of the jade talisman seal here," said President Zhao of the Talisman Seal Division. "There is also no sign of the use of the array formation." "What a ghost," added President Sun of the Array Formation Division. President Wu of the Artifact Refining Division shook his head and said, "It is not caused by a spiritual artifact, because there is no trace of the use of the spiritual artifact here. It's even more impossible that it was caused by a cultivator's spirit energy, because if it was damaged by spirit energy, the scene couldn't have been so clean." President Zhou of the Spirit Energy Department frowned and said. President Li of the Beast Taming Department spread out his hands. "This is even more impossible that it was done by a demon beast. Let's not talk about the fact that such a large demon beast wouldn't be able to break in without being discovered. The main thing is that even if the demon beast could eat all the plants and trees, it wouldn't eat the house." President Gus' expression was cold. It was not spirit energy, not demon. "Last night, no one heard any abnormal sounds? No matter how these 5 courtyards disappeared, they could not have gone without a sound, right?" President Run of the Alchemy Faculty sighed. "President, These 3 courtyards and some nearby courtyards are all student dormitories. Originally, there were people living there. However, these 2 days happened to be when the 7-leaf cedar grass matured. The students were arranged to go to the 3 Talents Waterside Pavilion to pick the 7-leaf cedar grass. At this moment, Jianzhuyu walked out of the crowd and said, "President, fellow chancellors, although no one in the alchemy division knows what happened, Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru might know something." President Gu and the 6 chancellors were stunned when they heard Jianzhuyu's words. Only then did they realize that the 5 missing courtyards were close to the primeval division. But the primeval division was safe and sound. President Gu was about to send someone to bring Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru over. But he heard someone yawn and say, "President, although we are close, we didn't hear anything. But we were woken up by the noise this morning." Chapter 5892 was punished. The person who spoke was the sleepy Yun Chujio. She continued, "However, I do have a guess, but I don't dare to say it out loud." Everyone's gaze immediately fell on her. President Gu asked anxiously, "What guess? Just say it." Yun Chujio yawned again. "Then let's make it clear in advance. If I say it, you can't punish me." President Gu urged impatiently, "Just say it." Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "Alright then, PLL, say it. As everyone knows, these courtyards belong to our prehistoric branch, but they were occupied by the alchemy branch. Now this situation is obviously retribution. Everyone. The people from the alchemy branch nearly vomited blood. This Yin Qingqing was indeed incapable of spitting out ivory from a dog's mouth. It was pure nonsense. The alchemy division's principal Ren's expression was very ugly. "Nonsense. Yin Qingqing, if you continue to mislead the crowd, be careful of the rules of the division." Yun Chujio spread her hands innocently and said with grievance, "See, I already said that I wouldn't say it, yet you want me to say it. If I say it, you will blame me again. It's really hard to be a good person. Besides, if we didn't suffer retribution, why did nothing happen to our primal division? Only your alchemy division suffered." Principal Ren subconsciously retorted, "According to what you said, the Talisman Seal division should have suffered some losses too. Why is there nothing happening to the Talisman Seal division?" Principal Zhao of the Talisman Seal division. He cursed in his heart. "It's fine to say that it's your alchemy division's matter, but why is it related to our Talisman Seal division?" Sick. At this moment, someone hurriedly squeezed into the crowd and said to Principal Zhao, Chancellor, this is bad. 2 of our Talisman division's courtyards have just disappeared into thin air." The first thought that flashed through Principal Zhao's mind was that Rin jinx. Everyone rushed to the Talisman division and found that the 2 courtyards near the prehistoric division had indeed become empty space, just like the alchemy division's situation. These 2 courtyards were also the students' dormitories, but everyone went to the alchemy division to watch the fun. When the accident happened, there was no one in the courtyard, but the handyman who was responsible for cleaning found out about it. This time, everyone's expression became a little fearful. Could it be that they had really found their retribution? If not, why did the alchemy division and talisman division suffer? But the prehistoric division in the middle was safe and sound. If it wasn't for Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru being here all the time, some people would have suspected that the 2 of them were the ones who did this. President Gus' expression turned cold. If, at the very least, he would have returned the courtyard to the prehistoric division. However, this matter was clearly not that simple. The other party was able to make the courtyard disappear without a sound. If he wanted to harm someone, wouldn't it be as easy as flipping his hand? He then thought of the shadow guard who had been replaced. Although he had caught the imposter, he had not been able to get anything out of him. Could it be that these 2 things were done by the same force? Thinking of this, cold sweat broke out on President Gus' head. However, as the president of the academy, he naturally could not lose his composure. He calmed his emotions and said, "Everyone, go back and focus on your lessons. The academy will find out the clues about this matter. The results of the investigation will be announced soon." The students then dispersed, but they were all feeling uneasy. This matter was too strange, and they were really uneasy. Chapter 5893. Could it be Cao Tai? President Gu hurried to the back of the mountain. After using his identity jade token to open a barrier, 2 cave abodes appeared on the cliff that was originally no different from other places. He steadied his mind and said respectfully, "Seniors, this junior has something to report." Almost as soon as he finished speaking, he heard a vigorous roar coming from one of the cave abodes. "Didn't I tell you not to disturb our closed-door cultivation for no reason? It's not the time of the 100-year competition yet. What are you doing here?" As he spoke, the short elder walked out of his cave, and the tall elder walked out of another cave. President Gu smiled bitterly in his heart. If it was not a serious matter, did he think that he would be willing to be scolded? Of course, he did not dare to say this out loud. He said respectfully, "Seniors, something really strange happened in the academy. That's why I rashly came to disturb your seclusion." The short elder curled his lips. "You're making a fuss. What happened? Did the sky collapse or did the earth collapse?" President Gu. He told the whole story, and even took out a shadow stone. He said, "The shadow stone recorded the situation at the scene. Please take a look." The expressions of the tall old man and the short old man changed. They both looked at the scene in the shadow stone. Seeing the empty ground, they looked at each other and thought of a possibility at the same time. Could it be Cao Tai? The short old man cried out in surprise. The tall old man said solemnly, "Wherever Cao Tai goes, nothing is left." It is indeed in line with Cao Tai's style of doing things. However, according to records, although Cao Tai ate everything, it liked to eat meat other than spirit stones. Why did it swallow several courtyards for no reason? Perhaps it is taking revenge on our 10 Directions Academy. After all, we have suppressed it for so many years. President Gu interrupted weakly. What do you know? If it wants to take revenge on our academy, wouldn't it just swallow you up? There is no need to swallow a few lousy courtyards, the short old man said snappily. President Gu was scolded so much that he shrunk his neck and shut his mouth, feeling wronged. The tall old man said in a low voice, "This matter might not be Cao Tai's doing. Let's go and take a look at the seal first." After a round of inspection, the two found that although the seal was loosened, it was not broken. It seemed that they had guessed wrong. This matter was not Cao Tai's doing. Then what happened to those courtyards? How did they disappear? The tall old man thought for a while and said, "Maybe there was a formation under those courtyards. Someone accidentally triggered it. Those courtyards belong to our prehistoric branch. We didn't find anything unusual before. Since the academy was able to seal Cao Tai back then, it's natural that they have a deep heritage. It's not surprising that we don't know some things," the tall elder said. Although the short elder still had doubts, he nodded. Then he remembered something and said, Little Gu, these courtyards are obviously the courtyards of the prehistoric branch. Why did you say something about alchemy branch and talisman branch?" President Gus' head buzzed. He had blurted out in a moment of panic. What should he do? He wanted to lie, but thinking about the consequences of being exposed, he might as well tell the truth. After all, this pot belonged to the previous president and had nothing to do with him. Chapter 5894. Beating a pig. Thus, President Gu said dryly, "Seniors, the Primal Chaos branch has been unable to recruit students, so the courtyard has been abandoned. The previous president lent some of the Primal Chaos branch's territory to the Alchemy branch and the Talisman Seal branch for the time being. This is also a reasonable use of the Academy's resources." The short elder's expression was not very good. Just as he was about to scold them, the tall elder sighed and said, Forget it. It has been a few hundred years, and we have yet to recruit any students. Anyway, we have nothing to do, so there's no harm in letting the other branches borrow it." The short old man snorted coldly. "It's too easy for them. When we recruit students, we will definitely make them return the principal and interest back." President Gu silently swallowed his saliva. This person, and that Yen Qingqing really had the same lineage. This bandit's thoughts were exactly the same. Thinking of Yin Qingcheng, President Gu felt his head ache even more. Should he tell these two that the Primeval Academy had already recruited 2 students? That Yin Qingcheng was clearly determined to go to the 100-year grand competition. When the time came, she would definitely be exposed. Why not confess and be lenient? Just as President Gu was about to tell them everything, he heard the short elder say, "Sooner or later, we will recruit talented students. At that time, we will make those branches feel inferior. Humph. Our prehistoric branch has always preferred the lack to the lack. It doesn't matter even if we wait for a few hundred years." President Gu silently swallowed the words that he wanted to say, because he felt that Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru could not be associated with being talented. If he said it out loud, he would definitely be scolded. It was better to think of a way to prevent them from participating in the 100-year grand competition. Even if he wanted them to participate, he had to make them give up on the idea of meeting these two. On the other side, one of the only 2 students of the Primeval Institution, He Xinjiu, was beating a pig. You dumbass. You put the disaster on the ground and didn't provoke the disaster in the sky. Do you want to die? Am I hungry or thirsty? How dare you shamelessly swallow my courtyard? Eat, eat, eat. You only know how to eat after one day. Why don't you go to heaven? The red piglet lay on the ground, feeling wronged. It allowed Yin Chujio to hit it with a rolling pin, not daring to retaliate. This fellow was very proud in his heart. He deserved it. It would be better if he angered you to death. It was already good enough that it did not swallow you. Last night, after she fed Dehua a few demon beast carcasses, it was still clamoring for food. He Xinjiu ignored it, thinking that it would dissipate in a moment. Who would have thought that she would hear the clamor of the alchemy division next door in the morning that 3 courtyards had disappeared into thin air? She immediately thought of a possibility. Dehua, did you do it? Master, this is called killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I can eat my fill and help you take revenge, Dehua said smugly. Yin Chujio was so angry that she almost vomited blood. This idiot was simply courting death by playing tricks. She did not have the time to teach it a lesson, and tried to think of a way to remedy it. In the end, she really had no choice but to let it secretly swallow the 2 courtyards of the Talisman Seal Division. In this way, she could use the gimmick of retribution to divert her attention. Moreover, the 2 courtyards were too close to her, so it was not convenient for her to tear them down. After beating Dehua up a few times, Yin Chujio finally calmed down slightly and said coldly, "I don't care what you are planning. Now you and I are in the same boat. If something happens to me, you can forget about materializing in your life." As long as he could convince her, Ding Wenru would be easy to deal with. Yin Chujio bared her little white teeth. "President, what you said makes sense. I'll listen to you." President Gu thought that he would have to spend some time to convince her, but he did not expect Yin Chujio to agree so readily. Immediately, a smile appeared on his face. He was about to speak, but he heard Yin Chujio continue. "Originally, I didn't want to participate in the 100-year competition. I just wanted to meet my 2 amiable and respectable masters. You don't have to give us any material rewards. Just let us go and meet our masters." President Gu almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He was beating around the bush just to stop her from meeting those 2, all right? If he let her go and meet them, why did he have to do such a thing? President Gu coughed dryly. "To tell you the truth, the 2 seniors have been in closed-door cultivation and will not participate in the 100-year competition. If you want to meet them, you can find another opportunity in the future." Yin Chujio looked at President Gu. "President Gu, do you know that if you lie, you will be struck by lightning?" Chapter 5896 Agreed Hong Long. A bolt of purple lightning struck the study room. Fortunately, the study room was still relatively sturdy. Even though the window lattice had been struck so loudly, it didn't pose much of a problem. However, President Gu was greatly frightened and immediately stood up. He hurriedly walked out of the room and saw that there were no clouds in the sky. It could be seen that the heavenly lightning had suddenly struck. Could it be that it was really because he had lied just now? It shouldn't be. He had lied a lot in the past. Why was he struck today? Could it be because he had lied too much? Just as President Gu was thinking, Yin Chujia's voice came from behind him. I was just casually saying. There really was a heavenly thunder? President, could it be that you were lying to me just now? President Gu glared at her and returned to the study room. President PM puzzled. Why don't you want me to meet my master and the others? The two of them will definitely praise you when they see a good disciple like me, who is hard to find even with a lantern in hand. President Gu was also quite frightened by the heavenly lightning, so he didn't beat around the bush and said, Since you've said so much, then I'll tell you the truth. You and Ding Wenru entered the primal institution by accident. With your talent, you won't be able to catch their eyes. Once they find out that the primal institution has accepted students like you, they will be furious. At that time, you and Ding Wenru might be expelled directly. PM doing this for your own good. So don't mention this matter again in the future. You don't have to go to the 100-year competition anymore. You should focus on your cultivation. Yin Chujio sneered in her heart. For their own good? Perhaps she was afraid of being implicated? She blinked her eyes. Principal, as the saying goes, man makes things happen. Who can say for sure what will happen in the future? Furthermore, even if you hide this matter, it's hard to guarantee that the day will come when you will be exposed. Which do you think is the greater crime, deception or negligence? Which one will make the two of them angrier? President Gu, I also know that you are in a difficult position, and I know that you are doing this for my own good. How about this? I won't make things difficult for you. If I am able to enter the top 10 of the overall score in the 100-year grand competition, you can introduce me to my master and the others. If I am unable to do so, I will never mention this matter again. What do you think? President Gu pondered for a long time. This little girl was very difficult to deal with. If he did not agree to her, she might cause some trouble again. Moreover, based on her cultivation, it was impossible for her to enter the top 10 of. Even if it were to rain red rain, she would really be in the top 10. With this result, even if the two of them weren't satisfied, they wouldn't be too angry. After weighing the pros and cons, President Gu nodded. All right, I agree to it. However, this matter cannot be mentioned to anyone else. Otherwise HMPH. Yun Chujio immediately agreed and cursed in her heart. Little Gu, just you wait. After saying this, President Gu changed the topic. You really didn't notice anything unusual about the alchemy division last night? No, if it wasn't for the commotion at the alchemy division this morning, I wouldn't have woken up so early. President Gu, I think they must have found their retribution. TSK, it's not so easy to take advantage of our primeval faculty. Seeing that she was getting more and more unreasonable, President Gu waved his hand repeatedly. All right, you can go back now. Prepare for the 100-year competition well, and don't embarrass our 10 Directions Academy. Chapter 5897. Grievance. After Yin Chujio left, President Gu kept rubbing his temples. He felt a headache coming on. If the Divine Enlightenment Academy saw that the 10 Directions Academy had sent 2 trash to participate in the 100-year competition, they would definitely laugh their heads off. They had wasted 2 spots for nothing, yet they couldn't do anything to them. It was really grievance. He could have dealt with the 2 students with lightning-fast methods, but at the very least, Yen Qingqing had discovered the shadow guards who had swapped out their spots and had rendered meritorious service. He could not bear to really deal with her ruthlessly. Moreover, the 2 people at the back of the mountain were grumpy. If one day they found out about this matter, it was hard to guarantee that they would blame him for their spasms. Therefore, he could only take one step at a time. Putting this matter aside, was the disappearance of the courtyard really due to the array formation? It was not necessarily so. President Gu felt that things had not been going well recently. It seemed that the upper house had not stopped since Yen Qingqing entered the school. It was really troublesome. On the other side, He Xinjiu left the study and took a deep breath. It seemed that the disturbance caused by Dehua had temporarily subsided. 2 days later, the academy posted an announcement regarding the disappearance of the courtyards. The gist of the announcement was that after careful inspection, it was found that there was a tactical array under the 5 missing courtyards. After the tactical array was accidentally triggered, the 5 courtyards disappeared. In fact, they did not disappear. They were just transported to a secret realm of the academy and were not damaged. After checking, there was nothing unusual in the other places of the academy. Everyone could rest assured. In order to verify these words, some of the things in the missing courtyard were also displayed. The students were skeptical. Didn't Dean Sun of the Array Division say that there were no traces of the array? Why was there another one now? However, if it was an ancient array, it was not surprising that Dean Sun did not notice it at the beginning. In addition, the items on display had been verified by the students who had stayed in the academy previously, so the remaining suspicions of the crowd had dissipated. However, no one dared to step into the empty space left by the Alchemy Division and the Talisman Division. It would not be good if they were accidentally transported to other places. Although Ding Wenru had not personally seen De Hua swallow those courtyards, she had more or less guessed it. She asked in puzzlement, "Qingcheng, where did you say the items on display came from?" "Yin Chu." You can find similar things easily, but those students have admitted it themselves. If it's not their things, how could they not question it? Ding Wenru was still very puzzled. There are so many capable people in the academy. It's very easy to do this. For example, the illusion array and the pills can naturally make those students believe the lies that they weave, Yun Chujio said lightly. Ding Wenru was stunned at first and then said worriedly, "Qingcheng, President Gu and the others obviously don't want us to participate in the 100-year competition. We're going against them like this. They want use these methods on us, right?" Yun Chujio glanced at her and said faintly, "I'm not those idiots. What can these methods do to me?" Ding Wenru. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of the 100-year competition. The 100-year competition was a grand event that only happened once every 100 years, so President Gu personally led the team. Director Run of the Alchemy Division, Director Zhao of the Talisman Division, and Director Li of the Beastmaster Division were accompanying them. The other 3 chancellors stayed in the academy to keep watch, but they also sent their vice-chancellors. Vice-Chancellor Xiao was also among them. Chapter 5898. City of Miracles on the way. President Gu specially mobilized. All of you are the best of the academy, the elite of the academy. Your results represent the academy's honor and disgrace. So I hope you will do your best this time to add glory to the academy. The students suddenly became excited and expressed their determination to bring glory to the academy. Of course, many people also cast a disdainful look at Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru. Others were outstanding and elite, but these 2 were trash. They were even adding glory to the academy. It was already good enough that these 2 did not make things dark for the academy and did not drag them down. No one knew what President Gu was thinking. He actually allowed these 2 trash to participate in the 100-year competition together. Was this not a joke? Yun Chujio didn't care about the gazes of these people at all, and her expression didn't change at all. Although Ding Wenru was a little uncomfortable, she was still a thick-skinned person, so she didn't have much of a reaction. When the crowd saw that the 2 of them were like a dead pig, that wasn't he afraid of boiling water, they became even more disdainful. However, they were only limited to verbal attacks, so they didn't dare to do anything. 10 days later, the crowd arrived at Miracle City, where the 100-year competition was taking place. Although the Union of 10,000 Cities controlled many cities, there were also a few cities that did not join the Union of 10,000 Cities. Miracle City was one of them. Miracle City was backed by the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy, so the Union of 10,000 Cities could not forcefully enter their sphere of influence. Therefore, in Miracle City, the various forces were not afraid of any forces doing anything. The influence of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy was huge. Although it was a competition between the 2 academies, it still attracted a lot of people. The Divine Devil Hall, the 10,000 Buddha Sacred Hall, the Ironblood Alliance, and the Alliance of 10,000 Cities also sent people of high status. Just as the group of people from the 10 Directions Academy arrived outside Miracle City, City Lord Morong of Miracle City was already waiting with his subordinates. City Lord Morong knew very well that Miracle City was where it was today, because it had the support of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Inspiration Academy. Naturally, he did not dare to neglect them. After a round of small talk, the group followed City Lord Morong into Miracle City. Once they entered Miracle City, the first impression they gave off was that it was bustling. The streets were bustling with people, and the shops were also packed with people. There were also many small shops and vendors on the street, trying their best to attract customers. Yun Chujio had always been a person who liked to join in the fun. Seeing such a scene, she was so happy that her eyelashes were blooming. If it were not for the fact that President Gu did not say anything, this fellow would have already gone to the roadside to have a meal. After City Lord Morong had arranged the accommodation for the people from the 10 Directions Academy, then he cupped his fists and said, "President Gu, it just so happens that the people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy also arrived in Miracle City earlier. I will be the host tonight to welcome both of you." After President Gu politely agreed, City Lord Morong left. President Gu gave them some advice and did not detain them. He told them to wander around the city freely, but they were not allowed to cause any trouble. Upon hearing this, He Xinjiu immediately dragged Ding Wenru and ran away in high spirits. A certain respected figure who had been ignored immediately looked a little unhappy. He glanced at Nangong Shi, who was also a little disappointed, and said coldly, "In the future, take care of your people." Nangong Shi, Ding Wenru had clearly been dragged away by Yin Qingcheng, all right? If you want to take care of her, you should be the one taking care of Yin Qingcheng. However, he did not dare to say anything, and only silently nodded his head. However, when he thought about how Beiyu had said that Ding Wenru was his person, he felt an inexplicable sweetness in his heart. Chapter 5899. Trash and ugly He Xinjiu was like a bird out of its cage. She had long forgotten about a certain someone. She was strictly controlled in the 10 Directions Academy and could not go anywhere, let alone go out and eat happily. There was no reason for her to be unhappy. Ding Wenru was also a foodie. The two of them hit it off and were so happy that they were about to float. They bought and ate along the way. Yun Chujia's eyes could not help but light up when she saw the shop in front. "Sister Ding, let's go. Let's go to the bookstore in front for a walk," He Xinjiu said impatiently. Ding Wenru often saw He Xinjiu looking at the shy storybook, and a rare blush appeared on her face. "Qingqing, I think. Let's not go." He Xinjiu was not willing to listen. She dragged Ding Wenru into the bookstore. This guy was picky and bought a lot of books. The shopkeeper was very attentive when he saw such a big customer. When he paid the bill, not only did he wipe the change, but he also gave Yun Chujiu a book. After Yun Chujiu and Ding Wenru left, a waiter came to the shopkeeper's side and said curiously, "Shopkeeper, aren't those two the famous trash twins from the Academy of 10 Directions? Why are you treating them so well?" The shopkeeper glared at the waiter. "I don't care if they are trash twins. As long as they enter this shop, they will be our customers. If you offend the customers in the future, you will be punished." The waiter shrunk his neck. "Shopkeeper, I'm just talking to you behind your back. When I served them before, I always smiled apologetically. I didn't expect those two trash to have such a strong taste in books." He Xinjiu didn't he know that she and Ding Wenru had become the talk of others. She was in a good mood now. The two of them found a restaurant. Since the private room on the second floor was full, they had to find an empty table on the first floor and sit down. While waiting for the dishes to be served, Yun Chujiu remembered the book that the manager had given her. She took it out and glanced at it. There were 3 big words written on it: Atlas of Heroes. Ding Wenru came over and said, "This thing is probably similar to the Atlas of the Chosen Ones of our academy. It's probably an introduction to the students participating in the 100-year grand competition this time." Yun Chujio opened it and found that it was true. This booklet was divided into two sides. One side was an introduction to the students of the 10 Directions Academy, and the other side was an introduction to the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. The first page of the 10 Directions Academy was the Northern You. It was full of praise, and was even titled as the Young Master of the Northern You. Next were some of the outstanding figures of the 10 Directions Academy. Nangong Shi, Jiang Shuangli, Bai Yuechen, Jian Zhuyu, and the others were all listed. Ding Wenru said in puzzlement, "Qingcheng, why don't you see our names? Go back and look." At the end of the page, they finally saw their names. The description on it said, Yen Qingcheng, first level of the Divine Summoning, Fire Spiritual Root, Spiritual Beast as a Red Claw. Ding Wenru, 8th level of the Divine Summoning Realm, Fire Spirit Root, and a Spirit Beast with a Spirit Fire Leopard. The two of them were not very talented, and their looks were ugly. They had obtained the qualifications to participate in the half-year grand competition by some shady means, so they were called trash and ugly. He Xinjiu and Ding Wenru were so angry that they almost choked. Ding Wenru was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Who the hell wrote this? It was simply nonsense. Yun Chujio gritted her teeth. This is too much. PM's so angry. Other people write on a single piece of paper, but here, they actually wrote it together. How stingy. Ding Wenru, your focus has gone off the mark, alright? Chapter 5900 meets Lan Luochen again. Ding Wenru cursed a few times, and then said, Qingcheng, the owner of the bookstore said that this book has just started selling, so there aren't many people who bought it. If there are too many people who buy it, I'm afraid they will point fingers at us. Yun Chujio said indifferently, we can say whatever we want. It's not like they said that we would lose a piece of meat. Besides, facts speak louder than words. When we shine in the competition, the booklet will naturally be a slap in the face. Ding Wenru said with a wry smile. Qingcheng, to be honest, I'm really not confident. Our cultivation level is so low. It's already good enough if we don't embarrass ourselves, let alone shine. Yun Chujio was about to say something when a group of people walked in from the door. He Xinjiu saw one of them, and immediately lowered her head. She lowered her voice and said, Don't talk to me. When the food is served, let's pack it up and leave. Ding Wenru was puzzled, and looked at the people who had just come in. They were both men and women, and they were all wearing the clothes of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. Each of them had extraordinary looks, especially one of the men who was so handsome that people couldn't take their eyes off him. However, there was a faint gloomy look between the brows of that man, which made people feel apprehensive. Ding Wenru was puzzled. Could it be that Qingcheng knew these people? Moreover, they had a grudge? Otherwise, why would she avoid them? Although she was curious, she tactfully did not ask. She picked up the book from before and compared it. On the first page, she saw the portrait of that gloomy man. Lan Luochen, 7th level of the Spirit Summoning Realm, Water Spiritual Root, Spiritual Beast as Qilin. He was extremely talented, and his cultivation speed was astonishing. As soon as he entered the academy, he directly entered the upper house of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. In a short period of time, he became the outstanding figure of the upper house, and was known as Young Master Luochen. Yun Chujio also caught a glimpse of what was written on it, and cursed in her heart. Damn it, bad luck, really bad luck. If she had known that she would encounter blue dregs here, she would not have come here to eat. Although she had taken a disguise pill, she could not guarantee that Lan Luochen would not recognize her. The thought of Lan Luochen made He Xinjia's head hurt. This Lan Luochen was a typical psychopath. She did not want to have any relationship with him. Fortunately, the dishes ordered by Yun Chujio were served in a short while. Yun Chujio randomly put the dishes into her storage ring. She gave Ding Wenru a look, and the two of them got up to leave. When the two of them TSK, it's really you two. The reputation of the trash of the 10 Directions Academy was well deserved. Not only were they ugly, but their cultivation levels were also low. Tell us, what kind of dirty tricks did you use to get the qualification to participate in the 100-year grand competition? Yun Chujio was afraid of arousing Lan Luchen's suspicion, so she did not intend to pay attention to the man's provocation, and continued to walk forward. Unexpectedly, the man with the croaky voice stood up and stopped the two of them. Are you deaf or mute? Didn't you hear me calling you? Or is it that the 10 Directions Academy is afraid of the Divine Enlightenment Academy, and doesn't even dare to speak? The man said arrogantly. Ding Wenru knew that Yun Chujio did not want to expose herself, so she said, Get out of the way. We still have things to do. We'll talk about it when there's a big competition. The male duck's voice curled his lips. TSK, you must be Ding Wenru, right? As expected, ugly people are always causing trouble. You're as strong as a tiger, and as thick as a bear, but you actually got together with Nangong Shi. You're really capable. Chapter 59:01 Competition. Ding Wenru was so angry that her face turned livid. You should speak with more respect or else. Or else what? You piece of trash. Do you still want to fight? TSK, if you really dare to fight, I will make your 10 Directions Academy's participation quota become 48. The male duck's voice said with a strange laugh. In his opinion, it was a good opportunity for him to make a name for himself by easily taking care of Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru. People liked to pick the soft persimmon. The others in the restaurant started to make noise, pointing at Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru. Yun Chujio naturally wouldn't put a clown like the male duck voice in her eyes. If she didn't care about Lan Luochen, this guy would have long let the male duck voice know how powerful he was. She shook her head at Ding Wenru. Ding Wenru suppressed her anger and said, Get out of the way. Otherwise, if this matter is blown up, it won't be good for either of us. The man with the croaky voice had made up his mind to sensationalize the crowd. How could he stop? He put on a fake smile and said, If you admit publicly that the 10 Directions Academy is inferior to the Divine Enlightenment Academy, I will let you go. If not, let's have a contest. The students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy, behind the man with the croaky voice, all looked like they were watching a good show. No one said anything to stop them. Lan Luochen, on the other hand, had his back to them. He was flipping through the booklet in his hand, as if he did not care about what was happening here. Ding Wenru had seen the introduction of the croaking voice in the booklet. Guan Zijia was at the 5th level of the Divine Enlightenment realm, and had a with spiritual root. His cultivation level was far higher than hers. If they fought, there was no chance of winning. At this moment Yun Chujio gave her a look. She actually wanted her to agree to Guan Ziji's provocation. Although Ding Wenru was uncertain, she had always followed Yun Chujio's lead. She immediately gritted her teeth and said, Okay, let's have a competition. Let's go outside. Guan Zijia did not expect that Ding Wenru would actually dare to agree. However, since she was asking for it, he would grant her wish. Therefore, he said arrogantly, Okay, today I will let everyone see how useless and unbearable the students of the 10 Directions Academy are. Ding Wenru bit her lips and did not say anything. She was thinking about what she could use. She liked refining artifacts, and had also refined a lot of spiritual artifacts recently. Although the quality was average, it was superior in quantity. Some of them had been improved according to her idea. If she used all these spiritual artifacts, she might have a. Although the quality was very low, they were all super-grade jade talisman seals, which could help her. Ding Wenru thought for a while, and had already arrived outside the restaurant. Some busybodies had already cleared the street in front of the restaurant and shouted, Come and see! Come and see! The students of the 10 Directions Academy and the Divine Enlightenment Academy are going to fight. The 100-year grand competition had been pre-rehearsed. Let's wait and see who will win and who will lose. Soon a lot of people gathered. Since the bookshelves in the bookstore had already started to sell, many people had a preliminary understanding of Guan Zijia and Ding Wenru. Almost everyone thought that Ding Wenru was asking for humiliation. Wasn't it obvious that she was going to be slapped by Guan Zijia? Jian Zhuyu, Xiao Lianxiao, and the others were also in the crowd. Although Xiao Lianxiao and Jian Zhuyu weren't on good terms, the two of them had the same goal now, so they often got together. Xiao Lianxiao gloated and said, Ding Wenru will definitely lose. She has embarrassed herself in front of so many people. She will definitely be punished. She might even be disqualified from participating in the competition. Chapter 5902 Persuasion, Lian Xiao. Let's go and persuade her. Jianzi's eyes flashed as she said, Are you crazy? I can't wait for the two of them to be unlucky. Why should I persuade her? It would be better if she was beaten to death. Lian Xiao snorted. Jianziyu chuckled and said, After all, this concerns the reputation of the 10 Directions Academy. If the people in the academy knew that we were present, but did not persuade them, it would be inevitable that they would have some complaints. Moreover, do you think that even if we go up and persuade them, we can really stop this fight? Lian Xiao was stunned for a moment. She secretly cursed this bitch in her heart, that she was really good at putting on a show. No wonder her reputation was so much better than hers. Jianziyu saw that she did not say anything, and directly walked out of the crowd. She said softly, This student from the Divine Enlightenment Academy, I am Jianziyu from the 10 Directions Academy. The person next to me is Lian Xiao. Even if Jianziyu didn't introduce herself, the people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy recognized her, and Lian Xiao. After all, everyone knew the name of the 4 fairies of Drifting Cloud and Zhuyu. Guan Zijie changed his previous arrogance and said with a bit of flattery, So it's Fairy Zuvu and Fairy Lianeo. I've long heard of your names. Todav. I finally saw your real faces. You are indeed amazing. The other people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy also came over to greet them. It was true that they were opponents in the 100-year competition, but in the future, after graduation, they would have to interact with each other. Moreover, Jianziyu and Xiao Lianqiu's family backgrounds were not ordinary. It was better to be on good terms with them than to offend them. Only Lan Luochen looked indifferent and did not speak. Jianziyu and Lianqiu were shocked by his appearance. They had not bought the Atlas of Heroes, so they did not know about Lan Luchen's information. They could not help but feel puzzled. Since when did the Divine Enlightenment Academy have such a person? They had never heard of such a person in all the big families. Also, why did his appearance look familiar? He looked 60 to 70% similar to Bai Yuechen. Could it be? They had heard that the Bai family had found a young Master Biao. Could it be that he was the young Master Biao of the Bai family, who came from the lower continent? Jianziyu came back to her senses, and said to Guan Zijie with a smile, I wonder if Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru of the academy have offended you? Peace is the most important thing for everyone. It's better if we don't do anything. Guan Zijie said with a smile, Logically speaking, if Fairy Zhu came out to plead for us, If I let them go so easily, the Divine Enlightenment Academy would lose face. How about this? If they can apologize to us in public, then we can forget about today's matter. Trash and ugly. Lian Xiao burst out laughing and gloated at Yin Chujio. Jianziyu was also gloating in her heart, but she was much more shrewd than Lian Xiao. She frowned slightly. Yin Qingcheng, Ding Wenru, President Gu repeatedly warned us not to cause trouble. Why are you deliberately provoking the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy? The competition is coming, so don't stir up trouble. Hurry up and apologize to the students of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. Lian Xiao, and I will help to make peace. If the big issue is resolved, the small issue will be resolved, and this matter will be put behind us. When the onlookers saw Jianziyu's actions, they all praised, See, Fairy Zhuyu is indeed like the rumors. She has a pure heart, and is reasonable. The gap between this person and others is really big. Those 2 trash are from the Academy of 10 Directions. They can't be compared to Fairy Zhuyu and Fairy Lian Xiao. Chapter 5903 Ding Wenru was very angry. She said coldly, I didn't do anything wrong. What right do I have to apologize to them? They were the ones who started the trouble. What wrong did we do? Jianziyu sighed. Ding Wenru, I know that you and Yin Qingqing have always been arrogant. But this is not the 10 Directions Academy. You'd better apologize to them quickly. Otherwise I can't protect you. When the crowd heard that, They immediately labeled Yun Chujio and Ding Wenru as arrogant and despotic and ungrateful. Ding Wenru was livid with anger, but she was not as eloquent as Yun Chujio. For a moment, she did not know how to refute. She was puzzled. If it was in the past, Qingqing would have come out to kill this Jian Zhiyu. Why didn't she say anything today? It seemed that she was really afraid of one of them. Just as Ding Wenru was thinking, she saw Yun Chujio smiling at Jian Zhiyu. Jian Zhiyu, since you care so much about the big picture, and care so much for your classmates, I'll leave these people to you. Just apologize on our behalf. Sister Ding, let's go. After Yun Chujio said that, she dragged Ding Wenru into the crowd and ran away. Jian Zhiyu. Guan Xiaojia. The others. There was actually such an ostentatious operation? Wasn't this blame thrown too smoothly? Wasn't this skin too thick? A strange light flashed in Lan Luchen's eyes. Beiyu. Yan Qingqing. Could it be the two people he had guessed? However, her looks were secondary. The main thing was that this spiritual root and spiritual beast did not match. Was it really her? Xiao Lianxiao gloated at Jian Ziyu's misfortune. She deserved it. She deserved it. Weren't you willing to pretend to have a good impression of her? Let's see how you'll end up this time. Jian Zhiyu hated Yun Chujio so much that she gnashed her teeth. However, at this point, she could only gnash her teeth and say, "Fellow students, I'm really sorry. Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru usually do whatever they want. I can't do anything about them. How about this? I'll apologize to you guys on their behalf. Let's forget about this matter. It wouldn't be good if this matter was brought to the attention of the teachers. Fairy Zhiyu, you're too polite. Since you're helping them, let's forget about this matter." Guan Zijia had originally wanted to make a name for himself by bullying Ding Wenru and Yun Chujio. Now that he had taken this opportunity to get to know Jian Zhiyu and Xiao Lianxiao, he naturally wanted to use this opportunity to get down from his perch. After a dispute ended, the onlookers dispersed. Jian Zhiyu exchanged a few more pleasantries with Guan Zijia and the others before they left. Xiao Lianxiao said sarcastically, "Jian Zhiyu, you deserve it. I told you to pretend to be a good person, B." She snorted coldly. "Don't forget, there's a welcoming banquet tonight." Xiao Lianxiao instantly understood what Jian Zhiyu meant. During the welcoming banquet tonight, Guan Zijia and the others would definitely find trouble with Yan Qingqing and Ding Wenru. There would be a good show to watch. On the other side, Yun Chujio dragged Ding Wenru out of the crowd and ran to another street to continue eating. "Qingqing, which one of them are you afraid of? It can't be that Lan Luochen, right? I think all of you are from the Heavy Cloud continent. I've never seen you afraid of anyone. What's going on?" Ding Wenru asked curiously. Yun Chujio said unhappily, "It's that crazy Lan Luochen. I can't wait to never see him in my life. I've never seen such a crazy person like him." Chapter 5904. Don't lose the big. Because of the small Ding Wenru was immediately filled with gossip. Crazy? Is he an enemy or a lover? Yun Chujio glared at her. "You can't shut your mouth even if you eat. Don't mention that crazy person in front of me. The moment I think of him, the pastry in my hand will lose its taste." Ding Wenru immediately guessed a little and winked. "I don't mind. The main thing is that the Northern Imperial is so jealous. He even went to trouble Nangongsher for no reason. This time, he will definitely explode." Yun Chujio suddenly felt a headache coming on. That's right. The pretty boy and Lan Luochen would definitely fight each other the moment they met. She had to warn the pretty boy first. Thinking of this fellow was not in the mood to stroll around and eat. He dragged Ding Wenru and ran back to the residence of the 10 Directions Academy. The space was limited. The students each had a room. Di Baiming and Nangongsher were quite familiar with each other, so the two lived together. When Nangongsher saw Yun Chujio come in, before he could say anything, Yun Chujio said, "Nangongsher, Sister Ding is waiting for you in the room. She bought a lot of delicious food for you. Go quickly." Nangongsher immediately felt happy. Although Ding Wenru's attitude toward him had improved after the incident at the Six Harmonies Waterside Pavilion, she was still cold and indifferent. He didn't expect that she would take the initiative to buy food for him this time. Nangongsher hurriedly ran to find Ding Wenru. Yin Chujio curled her lips and closed the door. A certain someone was dissatisfied with Hei Shinjio abandoning him, so he didn't say anything. Hei Shinjio didn't know that a certain someone was jealous of Ding Wenru. He walked up to Di Biming and said, "I met that crazy Lan Luochen in the restaurant." When a certain someone heard that, his aura became sharp. Did he recognize? I don't think so. But he will recognize you sooner or later. I came to find you specifically to tell you not to get into a conflict with him. After all, the thing you are looking for is more important. There is no need to lose everything for nothing. Yin Chujio said. A certain someone suppressed the anger in his heart and nodded. Lan Luchen's existence made him like a fishbone in his throat. At the beginning, when he had the ability to kill Lan Luochen, he did not make a move because of Yin Chujio's feelings. After they became enemies, Lan Luochen had the 9 pavilions as his backing. He had never found a chance to kill him. At most he had been severely injured. When they arrived at the Chongshao continent, Lan Luochen had become Yin Chujio's eldest cousin. He had considered Yin Chujio's situation in the Lan family, but he still could not make a move. Now Lan Luochen had also arrived at the Divine Enlightenment continent. If he recognized little Jiao, it would be troublesome again. Thinking of how Lan Luochen and Yin Chujio described the mermaid brother as almost identical, a certain being felt troubled. For some reason, although the mermaid had only met Yin Chujio a few times, he was still afraid of it. Seeing that Di Biming had agreed, Yin Chujio heaved a sigh of relief. She told him about what she had seen and heard on the street. Finally, she took out the Atlas of Heroes and said angrily, "Look, these blind people are so stingy. They actually put Ding Wenru and I on the same piece of paper. They really go too far." Di Biming's eyes twitched when he saw the huge trash and ugly on it. He had to admit that his little wife's focus was very different from others. In the evening, the people from the 10 Directions Academy went to the City Lord's mansion to attend the welcoming banquet with President Gu. The people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy also went to the banquet. Lord Morom was very enthusiastic. The banquet was also quite sumptuous, and the scene was very lively. Chapter 5905. The performance of the little grasshopper. Although President Gu was secretly competing with President Yu of the Divine Enlightenment Academy, he was still very polite on the surface. The vice-chancellors of the chancellor also exchanged greetings and toasted each other. For a time, the scene was very harmonious, as if the two parties were not rivals but old friends who had not seen each other for many years. However, as time passed, after several cups of wine, the direction of the atmosphere began to change. An old man sitting under President Yu of the Divine Enlightenment Academy said with a fake smile, "President Gu, a student gave me an interesting booklet. Have you read it?" President Gu slightly raised his eyebrows. "Oh, what booklet?" The old man immediately asked a maid to pass a booklet on the table to President Gu. President Gu opened it and saw that it was the introduction of the students of the 2 academies. He was a little puzzled. What was there to read? It was just some words of praise. The old man who spoke was the chancellor of the Alchemy Division of the Divine Enlightenment Academy. Seeing that President Gu did not understand what he meant, he reminded him, "President Gu, why don't you turn to the last page of the 10 Directions Academy?" President Gu turned to the last page of the booklet as he said. When he saw the trash and ugly and the introduction, his face immediately became a little ugly. Although he usually despised Yin Chujio and Ding Wenru, they were still students of the 10 Directions Academy. Now that they were so ugly, he was naturally unhappy. At the same time, the chancellor of the Divine Enlightenment Academy asked the maid to pass a few more copies of the booklet to the other chancellors and vice-chancellors of the 10 Directions Academy. Chancellor Run and the others' faces immediately turned ugly. On one hand, they felt that the Divine Enlightenment Academy had gone too far and was deliberately using it to annoy people. On the other hand, they blamed President Gu. They should have disqualified Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru before so that they would not embarrass themselves. At this time, Chancellor Si said with a little provocation, "President Gu, to be honest, I thought that the person who compiled this book was talking nonsense. After all, The 100-year competition is a big event for both our academies. How could your 10-sided academy send 2 students with such low cultivation? But today it was really like that. Sigh. I didn't expect the 10 Directions Academy to have declined to such an extent. Even such a useless student could participate in the 100-year competition. Hei Shinjio wanted to diss Director C, but she was worried that Lan Luochen would see through her. She rolled her eyes. Fortunately, she had a little grasshop. Thus, Director Xiaofu's performance began. Director C, that's not true. The fact that Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru are participating in this 100-year competition shows that our 10 Directions Academy is getting more and more prosperous. Director Si curled his lips. Oh, I'd like to hear the details. Director Xiaofu smiled faintly, but with a hint of disdain. The results of the 100-year competition represent the strength of the 2 academies. We would rather send 2 of the weakest students to participate, because we have enough confidence in the other students. Even if we lose 2 places, our 10 Directions Academy can still suppress your Divine Enlightenment Academy. In addition, as the saying goes, there is no discrimination in teaching. Our 10 Directions Academy is willing to give such a precious opportunity to ordinary students. This shows that our 10 Directions Academy treats all students equally. This is the root of teaching and educating people. And as a teacher, Chancellor Si, you use derogatory words to our academy's students. It is really hard to agree with you. Chapter 5906 added drama on its own. Director Xiaofu's words immediately made the scene quiet down. Director Si's face alternated between green and white. For a moment, he did not know what to say. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug felt that its performance was perfect. Although these words were taught to it by the little devil, its expression and tone were just right. This was also a skill. Therefore, this fellow began to add drama on its own. Director C, you just used insulting words to belittle the students of the 10 Directions Academy. Shouldn't you apologize? Director Si gritted his teeth and said, Vice Director Xiaofu, I saw the description of Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru from the Atlas of Heroish. I was just paraphrasing. It was not my original intention. The 1,000-year-old corpse turtle emperor bug did not know how to respond immediately. It could not help but regret that it should not have added to the drama. It could only ask Yin Chujio for help. Fortunately, Yin Chujio immediately told him how to deal with it. Therefore, everyone saw Vice-Chancellor Xiao smile sarcastically, and then said lightly, so the lecturers of the Divine Enlightenment Academy only know how to read from the script. They do not have their own opinions at all. No wonder the Divine Enlightenment Academy is declining more and more. It turns out that the root is here. It is really a pity. The Chancellor almost spat out blood, but he didn't know how to refute. President Gu looked at Director Xiaofu with appreciation. He thought to himself that Director Xiaofu had made a lot of mistakes in the past. He didn't expect that he would stand up for the interests of the Academy at the critical moment. It seemed that his nature wasn't bad. However, he was a little puzzled. He hadn't seen how eloquent Director Xiaofu was usually. Why was he so eloquent today? Could it be that he was performing beyond his usual standard? The other chancellors and students of the Academy of 10 Directions all looked at Director Xiaofu with approval. Although they did not like Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru, the Academy's honor was still important at this time. Xiao Lianxiao looked as if she was honored. She looked at Yin Chujio proudly. Yin Chuya thought to herself, if this idiot knew that Director Xiaofu had been taken over by the little grasshopper, would he still be so smug? Some people were happy while others were sad. The people from the 10 Directions Academy were jubilant, while the people from the Divine Enlightenment Academy had ugly expressions on their faces. They had provoked him first, but they were rendered speechless by others. It was really embarrassing. Seeing this scene, Guan Zijie recalled what had happened in the afternoon, and immediately had the idea of showing his good impression in front of the higher-ups of the D. He stood up, bowed respectfully, and then said, Teachers, originally, I didn't have the right to speak on this occasion. But since Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru of the 10 Directions Academy have been mentioned, I have a matter to ask you to decide. President Yu of the Divine Enlightenment Academy was worried that he had no way out. He immediately asked, "Oh, what's the matter?" "This afternoon, I was having lunch with a few of my classmates at the Banished Immortal restaurant when I met Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru. We didn't have any interactions at first, but I didn't expect them to provoke us for no reason and use foul language to humiliate us and the Divine Enlightenment Academy. I was so angry that I wanted to have a match with Ding Wenru on the spot. I didn't expect that she and Yin Qingqing would run away when Jianzhu interceded on their behalf. Therefore, I implore all the teachers to make a decision for me. There's no need to apologize. Just let me and Ding Wenru continue the match in the afternoon." Hei Xinjiu, who wished she could be invisible, heard Guan Ziji's words and was so angry that she gritted her teeth. This idiot really deserved to be taught a lesson. President Yu looked at President Gu and said, "President Gu, the competition hasn't started yet, and your academy students are already provoking our students. Isn't that a little inappropriate?" Chapter 5907 followed the rules. President Gu laughed and said, "It's probably just a quarrel. How can it be considered a provocation? Moreover, Ding Wenru and Yin Qingqing have always followed the rules and would never do anything out of line. I think there must be a misunderstanding. Let's forget it." The corners of the eyes of the people from the 10 Directions Academy twitched. Follow the rules? Did this word have anything to do with Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru? Could it be that you have some misunderstanding about this word? Whether it's a quarrel or a provocation, we are almost done eating anyway. Letting the two students spar can be considered as adding fuel to the fire. If you are afraid that they won't be careful, then don't use spiritual beasts, jade talismans, and the like. Just compete in body movement, President Yu said. Guan Zijia was at level 5 of the Divine Summoning, while Ding Wenru was only at level 8 of the Divine Summoning. Even if it was just a competition in movement skills, the result would be obvious. The Divine Summoning Academy had lost face before, so naturally, they would not let go of such a great opportunity. President Gu saw that President Yu had already said so much, so he could only nod and agree. He comforted himself. Anyway, Ding Wenru's cultivation was much lower than Guan Ziji's. It was normal to lose, and there was nothing to be embarrassed about. Unexpectedly, Nangongsher stood up and said to Guan Zijia, "Ding Wenru is only at the 8th layer of the Divine Revelation realm, and you and I are both at the 5th layer of the Divine Summoning realm. Do you dare to compete with me?" Guan Ziji's eyes flashed and he sneered. "There's always someone to blame. I don't have any grudges with you. The person I'm looking for is Ding Wenru." Nangongsher wanted to say more, but Ding Wenru stood up and walked to the center of the hall. "I accept your challenge. Let's begin." Nangongsher was anxious and angry, but Ding Wenru was already on stage, so he couldn't say anything else. He planned in his heart that if the situation wasn't favorable for Ding Wenru, he would go on stage to save her. Ding Wenru looked calm on the surface, but she was secretly complaining in her heart. She didn't want to go on stage at all, okay? However, at the end of the day, she couldn't be intimidated by others, so she could only brace herself and go on stage. In any case, it did not matter even if he lost. Guan Zijia swaggered to the opposite side of Ding Wenru and said, "Ding Wenru, I will still say what I said in the afternoon. If you apologize to me in public now, I will forgive you. How about that?" Ding Wenru said coldly, "You were clearly the one who provoked me in the afternoon, but now you invert the truth. How shameful." Guan Zijia felt that victory was within his grasp and said arrogantly, "Your cultivation level is much lower than mine. I'll give you 3 moves to prevent others from saying that I'm bullying you." Ding Wenru sneered and did not say anything. She directly threw a punch at Guan Ziji's face. Guan Zijia nimbly jumped to the side and dodged Ding Wenru's punch. He had just dodged this punch when Ding Wenru's right leg kicked at his lower abdomen. Guan Zijia quickly jumped to dodge it. Unexpectedly, Ding Wenru seemed to have predicted that he would dodge in this direction and directly threw a punch towards him. Guan Zijia did not expect Ding Wenru's speed to be so fast. Although his reaction was still fast, and he tried his best to jump to the side. He still swept the wind with his fist. Immediately, half of his face swelled up. Everyone could not help but exclaim in surprise. This Ding Wenru's cultivation was so low. They did not expect her to be so agile. In fact, this was all thanks to Yun Chujio. Ever since the two became friends, Hei Shinjio had brainwashed Ding Wenru. Sister Ding, the so-called 36 stratagems to escape is the best plan. The ability to escape is the most important, so you have to practice your body movement skills while you are training. Chapter 5908. Splits under the repeated brainwashing of Yun Chujio. Ding Wenru also attached great importance to her movement techniques. Although she was not as good as Hei Shinjio, she was still much better than other people of the same cultivation level. Guan Zijia was both in pain and anger. He immediately flew into a rage out of humiliation. Ding Wenru, I wanted to save you some face, but I didn't expect you to be so shameless. Then don't blame me for being rude. After finishing his words, Guan Zijia began to fight back, fighting Ding Wenru. Although Ding Wenru's movement technique wasn't bad, she was only stronger than others of the same cultivation level. Guan Ziji's cultivation level was 6 levels higher than hers, and he was also a whole realm lower than her. Very quickly, he fell into a disadvantageous position. Ding Wenru was forced back by Guan Zijia, and she was in a dangerous situation. However, the principals of both sides had clearly said that it was only a competition of movement techniques, and spirit beasts or supporting techniques were not allowed. It wasn't good for her to use jade talismans and spirit tools either. She gritted her teeth. Qingqing had told her that if she couldn't win, she would run. Losing face was not as important as losing her life. Thus, she decided to admit defeat. At this moment, an unexpected change happened. Guan Zijia raised his leg to kick Ding Wenru's lower abdomen. Unexpectedly, he lost his balance, and with a snap, a huge split. Although Ding Wenru was a little confused as to why such a good thing would happen, she recalled the principle that Yun Chujio had taught her not to take advantage of a bastard. She immediately kicked Guan Zijia. Guan Zijia, who was in the middle of splitting, did not have time to dodge at all. He was directly kicked by Ding Wenru, and he was sent flying while maintaining his splitting posture. Crack! Crack! As Guan Zijia maintained his splitting posture, coincidentally, the angle of his landing was not very good, so his right leg was directly broken. Everyone was shocked by this sudden change. Is there something wrong with Guan Zijia? If you want to compete, then let's compete. Why are you splitting? Are you trying to show off the flexibility of your body? Ding Wenru was really lucky. She actually won this match in a muddle-headed manner. Could it be that she also got lucky in the 6 Harmonies Waterside assessment? Ding Wenru was stunned for a moment. She bowed to President Gu and President Yu before returning to her seat. She was still a little confused. What happened just now? How did she win in such a muddle? President Yu's expression was a little ugly. He had wanted to regain some face, but he had never thought that he would embarrass himself again. Guan Ziji's cultivation level was so much higher than Ding Wenru's of the 10 Directions Academy, but he actually lost. What an idiot! His bone was broken. Although it could be reattached, it would definitely affect the upcoming competition. President Yu wanted to change the person. However, according to the rules of the 2 academies, once the name list was confirmed, no matter what happened, the person could not be changed. Therefore, one could imagine the depression in his heart. Some people were happy while others were sad. President Gu, who was beside him, was elated. Regardless of how Ding Wenru performed in the competition, she had done well for the 10 Directions Academy tonight. President Gu smiled at President Yu and said, President Yu, I thought Ding Wenru would lose. After all, her cultivation is much lower. I didn't expect her to win by luck. Sorry for making a fool of myself. President Yu was furious. Who made a fool of himself? This old man was obviously teasing him. He squeezed out a smile and said, Guan Zijia was indeed careless. That's why he lost the competition. This has also rung a warning bell for the students. I believe that they will learn a lesson during the competition, and won't make the same mistake again. Chapter 5909 began. President Gu knew when to stop. He did not continue to use words to provoke her. He just laughed and let this matter pass. The crowd chatted for a moment without embarrassment, and then dispersed. In order to avoid Lan Luochen, when Yin Chujio heard that it was over, she hurriedly dragged Ding Wenru and ran away. On the way, Ding Wenru said in puzzlement, "Qingcheng, why do you think that Guan Zijia suddenly made a mistake?" "I guess he got his comeuppance," Yin Chujio said with a smile. She naturally wouldn't tell Ding Wenru that it was Xiao Hanio's curse. Ding Wenru couldn't think of any other reason, so she could only accept this explanation. Back at her residence, He Xinjiu was reading the new script she bought today with great interest when she heard a lot of noise outside. She was puzzled. What happened? Ding Wenru had always liked to watch a show, so she immediately went out to investigate. After a while, Ding Wenru walked in with a gossipy face. "Qingcheng, Bai Yuechen was beaten up by someone. The other party obviously did it on purpose. The wound was on his face, and Bai Yuechen's face was beaten into a pig's head. Oh right, guess who beat him up?" Yin Chujio thought for a moment and guessed correctly. Could it be that Bai Yuechen went to provoke Lan Luochen and was beaten up? Ding Wenru was dumbfounded. "How do you know?" Yin Chujio curled her lips. "Isn't that simple?" Bai Yuechen saw the wild and promising seed that he looked down on, so he naturally wanted to get back at him. Who would have thought that Lan Luchen's cultivation was much stronger than his? He was naturally looking for a beating. What a pig's head! Ding Wenru nodded. "You guessed right." After the banquet ended, Bai Yuechen stopped Lan Luochen from provoking him, but he was beaten into a pig's head. TSK. The heroic records already said that Lan Luochen was now at the 7th level of the divine summoning realm, while Bai Yuechen was only at the 4th level of the divine summoning realm. Where did he get the confidence to provoke Lan Luochen? "I've heard that Bai Yuechen's cultivation was originally unable to enter the top 50. It was because of Nangong Shi that he obtained the qualifications to participate in the grand competition. I've also heard that the reason why his cultivation soared so quickly was because their Bai family had found many medicinal pills to increase his cultivation. Otherwise, he would only be at the 2nd level of the divine summoning realm at most." Yin Chujio just smiled and did not say anything. She thought that a fool like Bai Yuechen would sooner or later be tortured by Lan Luochen. Perhaps the Bai family would also end up in Lan Luchen's hands. Ding Wenru sighed. "Sigh. Qing. We won't lose our lives in there, right?" Yin Chujio laughed evilly and said, "What are you afraid of? Don't you still have Nangong Shi protecting you?" "Oh my, didn't you see that when you were competing with Guan Zijia, Nangong Shi wanted to run up and help you?" Ding Wenru's face immediately turned red. "What nonsense are you talking about? We're just ordinary friends. It's not what you said at all." "Sister Ding, I didn't say anything. You just confessed without beating yourself up," He Xinjiu said with a wink. Ding Wenru's face turned even redder. She simply ignored her. One day later, it was the day of the 100-year grand competition. The 100-year grand competition was divided into 2 rounds. The first round was the trial of the ruins of Miracle. The 100 people who participated in the grand competition would enter the ruins of Miracle. This was both a competition and an opportunity. Every time, a portion of the students would get a rare opportunity. Therefore, although the ruins of Miracle was very dangerous, the students from the 2 academies would still fight for the qualification to participate in the grand competition. Chapter 59:10. Entering the ruins of Miracle. Dazzling beads appeared randomly in the ruins of Miracle. These beads had the effect of calming the mind and dispelling inner demons. They were called illusion-colored beads. The student's task was to obtain these illusion-colored beads. The final result was also calculated by the number of illusion-colored beads. The students' results added together were the results of the corresponding academy. Together with the points of the second round, the final winner was calculated. In addition, only the top 50 of the ruins of Miracle were qualified to participate in the second round of the competition. In a sense, the first round of the Trial of the Ruins of Miracle set the tone of the entire competition, because the more people who entered the top 50, the greater the chance of winning in the second round of the competition. As for the second round of the competition, it had to draw 3 kinds from the spiritual power: artifact refining, pill refining, array formation, beast taming, and talisman making. This was also to prevent people from cheating in the first round of the competition. After all, if they knew the content of the assessment, the Academy could have given priority to the top 50 students who had the corresponding talent in the first round. Hei Shinjio had thought that the Ruins of Miracle would be somewhere outside the city. She did not expect that they would be brought to the backyard of the governor's mansion. Everyone looked at the dilapidated well in front of them and could not help but look at each other. Don't tell them that the so-called Ruins of Miracle was in this well. Just as everyone was puzzled, they saw City Lord Murong put up an incense table and knelt on the ground. President Gu and President Yu also knelt on the ground. When the others saw it, they also quickly knelt on the ground. Hei Shinjio pursed her lips and also knelt on the ground. She complained in her heart, "What kind of trick is this?" City Lord Murong chanted a long paragraph of obscure words, and then a scene that made everyone dumbfounded appeared. A red carp jumped out from the dilapidated well. The scales on the red carp's body were very eye-catching under the sunlight, but it did not have eyes. When everyone focused their eyes and looked again, they realized that the carp was not a real carp, but was carved out of some kind of material. At this time, President Gu and President Yu each took out a bead, and the bead was automatically embedded into the red carp's eye socket. In an instant, the red carp emitted a red light that shot up to the sky. The well also became a teleportation barrier. Hei Shinjio couldn't help but click her tongue in wonder. The design of this thing was really interesting. However, why didn't it design a dragon or a phoenix? Why did it make a... The image of grilled fish, steamed fish, braised fish, sour soup fish immediately appeared in this guy's mind. It was only when Ding Wenru tugged on her sleeve that he wiped the saliva from his mouth and looked around. According to the usual rules, 5 people would enter the barrier in groups, and everyone would form a team. In fact, most of the people had already discussed this beforehand, so they had basically formed a team. Hei Shinjio undoubtedly formed a team with Ding Wenru, Di Baiming, and Nangong Shi, but there was still one person missing. There were a few students who had yet to form a team, and they were somewhat hesitant. Although Bei Yu and Nangong Shi were both quite strong, with Yin Qingqing and Ding Wenru dragging them down, their strength would definitely be greatly reduced. It was better not to join. What everyone didn't expect was that Jiang Shuangli actually walked over. "How about I join you guys?" Everyone's faces were filled with shock. Previously, Xiao Lianxiao had invited Jiang Shuangli to join their group, but he had rejected her. They didn't expect him to take the initiative to join Yin Qingqing's group. Chapter 59:11. Skeleton Tiger Yin Chujio smiled with her eyes curved. "Welcome, welcome. One more person to protect me and Sister Ding. I can't ask for more. In the future, all the hard work will belong to you." Jiang Shuangli's expression was slightly stiff, but he didn't say anything. He only nodded at Di Baiming and the other 2 officially joining. Xiao Lianxiao snorted coldly. "Jiang Shuangli, you will regret it." She had planned very well. Her group had Jian Zhiyu, Ji Lingfeng, Bai Yuechen, and Jiang Shuangli. It could be said to be a perfect combination, but she did not expect Jiang Shuangli to be tactless and actually reject her. What was even more infuriating was that he turned around and joined Yin Qingqing's group. He was simply crazy. Jiang Shuangli did not say anything. The bloodthirsty Insect Valley incident had a great impact on him, and he suddenly understood many things. Instead of choosing Xiao Lianxiao, who had abandoned her teammates at the crucial moment, he would rather be in a group with Yin Qingqing and the others. Moreover, he felt that Yin Qingqing wasn't as useless as she appeared. It was impossible for a person to be so lucky every time, unless he had extraordinary strength. Moreover, Bei Yu wasn't a fool. Yen Qingqing must have something extraordinary to be able to catch his eye. After everyone formed a team, they began to enter the teleportation barrier. Hei Xinjie was a little worried. She did not know if this barrier would cause any trouble. If she was blocked outside, she would be in trouble. Fortunately, there was nothing unusual. This fellow successfully entered the ruins of Miracle. Each team was teleported to a different location. Therefore, when the 5 of them regained their sight, there was no one else around them. When the 5 of them saw the situation before them, they could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. No wonder this place was called the Ruins of Miracles. It was indeed a ruin. The ground was full of collapsed debris, and there were cracks on the ground. It was so deep that one could not see the bottom, and it made one's heart tremble. It seems that the earth dragon flipped over here, which caused such a tragic outcome, Nangongshi guessed. Jiang Shuangli nodded. You're right. Only the earth dragon turned over would cause these cracks in the ground. These cracks are so deep that you can't see the bottom. There will be some demon beasts that are unique to this place. Everyone be careful. Ding Wenru looked around and said curiously, there are only ruins here. What do those demon beasts eat? According to the records, not all of the ruins of God's miracle are like this. There are also water sources in the forest, so there are naturally low-level demon beasts. Therefore, they should not be worried about food, Jiang Shuangli explained. Yin Chujio blinked her eyes and said, well, since the demon beasts here are very strange, is the meat also very delicious? Jiang Shuangli's face stiffened for a moment, and then said, for the sake of safety, no one dares to try to eat the demonic beasts here. After all, the appearance of those demonic beasts is quite different from what we've seen before. At this moment, Ding Wenru pointed to the distance and said in panic, quick look! It's coming out! Yin Chujio looked in the direction of Ding Wenru's finger, and saw an extremely strange demonic beast crawling out of an underground crack in the distance. That demonic beast looked similar to a demonic tiger, but half of its body was a skeleton. It was as strange as it could be. According to the records, this should be a Moon Seal level 6 skeleton tiger. It has a fire spirit root, and is very brutal, Jiang Shuangli said. Yin Chujio blinked her eyes. Do you guys think that half of its body is a skeleton? Could it be that it accidentally burned itself to such a state? Everyone was speechless. Shouldn't you focus on something else? Didn't you see that the skeleton tiger was already charging over? You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.